Welcome back, everybody, to another day of the RSL Season 3. We are in the final day of the groups. My name is Gemini, joined again with Mr. Sturgeon. Welcome back. How we doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Happy to be here. Group D is where it's at. Some amazing players in this group. It's going to be some really good games. Cannot wait to get started.
Yeah, man, it's going to be some really good games. I mean, so many good players have already made it into the playoffs. A lot of Protoss players have also made it into the playoffs.
True.
Yeah, if you like Protoss players, don't worry, we've got you covered. If you like Terran players, really, you got to get your hopes up today, because there's a great chance that something really funny will happen, and that's both Ryung and Maru potentially not making it out, which would be ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. I think it's somewhat unlikely, though. Maru obviously amazingly strong. I kind of predict him and Reynor as the favorites to take this group, but who knows what's going to happen. It could go any way. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to find out.
Yeah, the other groups as well had some interesting results. Max Pax coming in first in his group after a pretty poor performance last season, getting out last. So he has definitely upped that performance this time around. And Cure, I think, also the big standout, who got third last season and now is out in the groups. A big swing the other opposite direction for him as well. So some interesting results all around.
Yeah, Cure went really deep in both seasons of the RSL so far. For him to go out so early is a bit of a shock. In Group C, we did have Hero and Shin making it out. We have our first Zerg player.
Yeah.
And maybe one more will be joining him today. Hopefully a Terran as well. Mix it up a bit. Keep David Kim happy. Everything balanced as it should be, as you say, Gemini.
Yeah, dude. It would be so funny if at the end of this we actually get a perfect balance of things towards the end of the bracket. That'd be so wild. Anyways, here's our schedule. We're in the last day of the first week, of course, and then we're going to be coming back on Thursday with a bit of a squished schedule. We kind of had to move things around because there was a Chinese tournament that was supposed to be happening, but apparently that got moved away, and then now we're just with this schedule anyway, so it's whatever. But we will have lots more matches to be doing on that last week, so it's going to be like a double day for each of those final 4 days. So if you're watching live, it'll be starting a bit earlier. If you're watching on YouTube, it's just going to be a big VOD for you to watch, so it's not much different for you. So that's pretty cool. But regardless, that's the rest of the schedule, and it's going to be a great week of StarCraft.
Speaking of great things, here is our official partner of the RSL. Thank you so much to Archon Studio. These are the premier tabletop miniature games company, probably in the world, right? You can check out their website over at StarCraft-TMG.com. They have a really amazing StarCraft miniature game coming out. Yes. We have the Zeratul here, I believe, which is currently unboxed, but will be painted at some point and shown off here.
Not by us, because we suck at painting things.
Definitely not by me. But I think we're going to get someone
artistic in the slightest.
Yeah, we're going to get someone who is artistic to take care of that, and then we'll be showing that off. But please check out the website. They have some amazing stuff up there, not just StarCraft related.
True, yes. It's great to have them supporting us, and it's also great to have you supporting us over on the Patreon. If you haven't checked it out, please go ahead and check it out. This is the thing that is basically running this whole event. We love everyone that has been supporting us this entire time. There's so many different things that you can get from this as well. You can vote for players, you can vote for maps, you can get replays every week of the tournament as well. Or if you don't have any money because, for whatever reason, I don't know, many people I guess don't have money for certain reasons, but regardless, you can follow the page anyways and then still get updates on when we're doing stuff. So just go ahead, check it out. We would love your support, and you can do that over there.
We also have some merch, guys. You can check it out at tastelessthreads.com. There's hoodies as we go into winter here. Yes. There's mugs for those hot cups of cocoa. You got your t-shirts, you got your pins. You've got the ugliest picture of Tasteless ever on a t-shirt. There's a whole bunch of stuff there.
I love that shirt, man.
That shirt is amazing. I actually need one really bad. But yeah, there's tons and tons of stuff on there, not just what we've shown you on the screen here.
Yes, and the biggest thing of all is that we are having our offline finals in just about a month, a little bit less than that. It is going to be here in Seoul, South Korea, at the Big Place Studio over in Gangnam. There's 2 different types of tickets that you guys can order, so that way you can be here and actually watch everyone doing everything live in person. The regular tickets are $30 a piece, and then the premium ones are $150, and you can get some super cool, juicy stuff with that. you can maybe even give me a high five or even Tasteless a high five or something like that if you really want to. So that's always really cool. But yeah, please check those out and come along over to the finals, which is going to be following this schedule, Sturgeon.
Yes, on Saturday, December 13th, we will have the LCQ, where any player who's participated in an RSL event, such as the actual tournament or even just the qualifiers, is welcome to come along and play for a spot on the final day, which will be Sunday, December 14th. And yeah, it's going to be a 4-man bracket on the Sunday, and then whoever gets through on the Saturday will be joining the players who qualified through the 3 seasons of the RSL.
Yes. We're going to be having 4 excellent players. It would be really cool to see some potential underdogs maybe make it through the LCQ, since it's going to be basically like an open bracket for anyone that has participated in RSL before. So there's always a chance for some cool upset run or some cool storylines to be shown there. So I'm very excited to see what that LCQ actually does bring to us.
I'm also excited to see the YouTube growing, guys. Thanks for everyone who's been checking that out so far at youtube.com/@ReviveSC2. If you're watching on there already, thank you so much. Drop a like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Drop a comment if you're watching the VOD. It all helps us push our tournament through the algorithm on YouTube and keep growing this thing.
Yes, it's been pretty good so far. We got all the VODs coming up as well, so you can get them all nice and condensed as well if you don't want all the the commercial times and everything like that. So you can get them all right there. And we're going to be going into our first match in just a little bit here. It's going to be Reynor versus SOS. Some 3 pretty standard maps from the last map pool coming on in. Everyone banning out the new maps apparently, but this is going to be a bit of an uphill struggle, I think, for SOS. He's definitely someone who's very historied. Obviously has won massive tournaments in the past, like a BlizzCon, like an IEM Katowice, but recently he's not exactly been that same caliber player, whereas Reynor really has been for the most of the last few years, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Reynor's as good as it gets when it comes to Zerg players, top of the top. Really excited to see what he's going to be bringing to the table here today. We are into our first game, guys. It's going to be on Persephone. In the top left, as the blue Protoss, it is SOS, and in the bottom left, it is Reynor as the red Zerg.
Oh yeah, let's go. Let's see what we got going on here. I mean, SOS obviously someone who, if you're new to StarCraft, if maybe you haven't been seeing some of the older stuff that's been happening over the years, SOS is definitely someone who will throw out some very strange builds here and there. He is very tricky, he's very cheeky, he loves to bring in a couple random 2-base all-ins or just things that you really have never seen before. He has this very, very personalized approach to the game in general, and so I'm much going to be looking forward to see if he has any of that kind of stuff in store, even in this type of, even in this day and age, basically, of StarCraft II's history, if he's still able to come up with stuff like that. Because it feels like overall, once a game is out for so long, there's only so many tricks you can pull. Everything kind of gets figured out. There's standards that get developed, and it feels like up until this point, StarCraft has kind of hit that kind of standard situation where it's hard to just bring some of this weird stuff out.
Yeah, over time it kind of tends more and more towards macro games, right? As players get better and better at identifying what kind of cheese or timings they're being hit by, ironing out their responses to it, that kind of thing. We did see this game that SOS has actually not gone for either a Pylon Scout or a Gateway Scout. So Reynor was able to take that hatchery, a 16 hatch at his natural, nice and comfortably. That's very nice for him. And eventually this Overlord will get over to the Protoss wall and see what's going on.
Yeah, choosing to do the no scout approach is SOS to try and just get as many minerals and resources as possible to make his build as efficient as possible. This is definitely something that SOS would like to throw in here and there to try and get any sort of edge that you can, just assuming that Reynor's not going to do anything super risky. You see so few 12 pools or Baneling busts or, proxy hatches, stuff like that in ZVP, so it's honestly pretty, it's a good calculation to make from a lot of Protoss players to just not even bother scouting sometimes, to just see if you can get these little edges to get, a slightly faster Stargate or, a Warp Gate super fast for some crazy charge lot all-in or something, whatever. But SOS will go for that approach this game with a Stargate behind it as well, so pretty stock standard from him as well, as Reynor just tries to go up to his stable 3 bases for what's going to be a just totally normal PvZ, it looks like.
Yeah, the Overlord did see the time in on the Warp Gate there on the building, so he probably knows it's a Stargate. I mean, you can always be cheeky with it, be sneaky, but normally that delayed Warp Gate will mean a Stargate is coming up behind this. Of course, you like to get the confirmation. We may see that Overlord fly in at some point. And yeah, it's actually going to be a Void Ray first here for SOS.
And that just really just continues to build this little storyline we have for SOS, where he does love doing these little weird, cheeky things. And a Void Ray first is the perfect way to hide some strange tech or what? Okay, or we can just build a pylon in front of the third base. That's another strange thing we can do. But the Void Ray is usually very good at just, clearing overlords, so that way you can hide some tech for something weird.
What am I looking at?
I really can't go and tell you what the heck that pylon was, but it's going to be a fleet beacon to follow it up.
I'm trying to think why you might do that. The only thing I can come up with, Gemini, is that you don't want the Lings to to run around the edge of the map and run into the Protoss space if your Adept leaves. But his Adept hasn't left. So I'm really confused what that was about. But anyway, that happened. It's going to be a fleet beacon, as you mentioned. We're in for something wild here.
Because the way he put it as well, it looked like it was just barely, it was supposed to be just barely out of the building vision, right?
Right.
You can't see it when it's being morphed still, so... But he only had one gateway, I think, so it's not like you can really warp anything in.
You can't cannon it or cannon rush the base or something.
You couldn't just warp into Adepts and just kill drones or anything. It was just okay, I don't know. Anyways, not really anything to happen with that, just gets canceled. As we have a couple more gateways now getting thrown down, with the fleet beacon still being idle, not doing anything. I don't believe that's been scouted, as the Void Ray should have been able to clear that, although he keeps making... Alright, so we were talking about how SOS does weird things, let's remember that. But
it's a mothership, Gemini.
Oh my god, he's mothership rushing. I love him.
It's a mothership and some gateway units behind this. This is going to be so crazy.
Oh, this is sick.
I mean, as the Zerg, you got to have detection for this, right? If you don't have the detection, the cloak can just instantly end the game. Obviously, this map is close by air between the main bases, so there's actually a short distance for that mothership to travel. And the Void Ray makes sense, because you're going to clear out the Overlords, clear the vision of the Zerg, so that mothership can make a beeline. But right now, we do actually see that Reynor has two Zerglings running around outside the Protoss main base, so he may see this coming ahead of time.
Yeah, he really needs to get that in position to be able to kill those Lings. I thought that Adept was actually going to get ran by for a second there. It looked like it was out of position, but we'll be able to kill that off. Oh, never mind. He runs away. I lied to you. But it looks like what it's going to be, honestly, it could be a mothership recall in the main with force fields on the ramp.
That's what I was just thinking.
And
yeah, he's doing...
There's another player called Prince who used to do something like this a long time ago that me and M. Canning especially got so amazed by this build, and it's so funny because you just get there so fast with the mothership. Unfortunately, he did not clear out the Lings though, and so the mothership will be seen. That would have been insane if he threaded the needle through those, but that is a scout that is so useful for Reynor right now that he's actually gotten. That is so critical. What's the response going to be?
Well, he brings all his units to the main, which is the right call. He's making Ravagers so he can clear out the force fields. All the Queens coming over to provide some anti-air, and he just needs to make sure he has detection, and we do see an Overseer on the way as well. Reynor has an Overdrone right now. He's sitting on 54, and I think he's in a good spot to be able to deal with this, honestly. Oh. Here comes the recall, Gemini.
Oh my god, he didn't actually go far enough to realize that the whole army is waiting for him. He thinks that this isn't scouted, but everything is in preparation in the main base here for Reynor, just completely destroying this army. The mothership will stay alive for a really long time. Oh, that Bile is sick as well, getting a lot of those units. There's not much anti-air for the mothership. It's only the Queens, but still, there's nothing left underneath. A perfect read from Reynor, getting the scout, and SOS knows there's no hope left. Man. Just leaves immediately in shame.
Reynor's laughing as well. He was having a laugh at the end of that game. I mean, you got to clear the Lings if you do that, right?
Yeah.
The whole premise of this build is you're going to take the Zerg by surprise, recall in the main, and like you say, force field the ramp forever so the Zerg units can't get up, and you're going to try and just take out the main base and end the game. But the Lings do see it. Reynor's, all prepared for it. He even brings Spore Crawlers over. So if the Overseer dies, you have a little bit more detection as well as the anti-air. Just completely prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, when you scout the mothership, it kind of just all falls into place there, right. I feel like. So, yeah, SOS, I think... I wasn't looking exactly at what the Void Ray pathing was earlier on in the game, but it feels like he probably killed off an Overlord or something in the left and then was like, okay, that's that. I don't have to worry about that anymore. And he tried to you try to like kind of snake around the whole area to try and get any Overlord that might be on that path, and then you kind of come back later. But he didn't go all the way back towards his main base to clear out any potential other thing, which it seems like the Lings came a little bit afterwards, and so a bit of an I don't know, he just forgot about it basically. And yeah, the mothership gets scouted. Very unfortunate, because when that build works, it's really funny, dude.
Well, yeah, for the pros player, it's pretty funny. That's you. Yeah, it was a wild build. If it had worked, we would be saying it was genius. If it gets scoured, it looks a bit silly to throw a game.
That is definitely one of those builds that, just like it's such a polar opposite, but depending on what actually happens.
Because there's no follow-up. Like, you don't have a third base behind it. You don't have much tech or anything. You just have your gateway units. So yeah, the Zerg's already on 3 base. They can drone up even more, or they can probably even just counterattack once they get enough anti-air to deal with the mothership. Yeah, game number 1 will go to Reynor here.
Yeah, the way that he did it as well, SOS coming off of the 2 base, it's just like so quick. He's just trying to get like the fastest possible mothership out, it feels like. The one that I was mentioning earlier that Prince made a long time ago, it's like actually a slightly later one where it actually gets like a 3 base setup and then going into the mothership, also with like Blink and +1 as well. So it's like, even if the mothership play doesn't work, you still kind of have something to fall back on a little bit, where you can still kind of play with Blink +1 a little bit if you can get some damage done. This one was just a full-on, just complete all-in version, where it was just, if the one recall doesn't work or does insane damage, there's really nothing else you can hope for. So SOS, realizing that, leaves the game and comes on into Tokamak here to try and block the hatchery of Reynor.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense why you didn't probe scout in that last game. When you're going completely all in like that, you don't really need to, right? And you have the Void Ray as well, if there's any crazy early aggression from the Zerg. This game, we do see the scout, and the natural hatchery will be blocked, so Reynor will be able to take that at the triangle base third. Zergs are very comfortable doing this nowadays, but it still does disrupt you a little bit. If the Adepts come over, you have to make a few more Zerglings that you would maybe like to. But yeah, he should be able to hang on just fine. And the pylon is actually in the main here for SOS.
Oh my god, you're right. Wait, what
is going on here? It's not even at the ramp.
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
So, yeah, yet again, so SOS known for doing obscene, strange things, and this is yet again one of them. I'm at a loss.
How do you hold a Ling Flood with this?
I mean, it's a total gamble. It's like
it's insane, right?
No one does these early Ling Floods anymore, so it's just, a complete gamble. But I don't even get why wouldn't you even just try putting it on the ramp anyways? Just to be double safe. I don't know.
I don't know, because
you just throwing the buildings anyway.
Like, when you make your tech, you have a second pylon anyway, right? Which you can make in the main. So it's not to high tech or anything. Very interesting here from SOS. I mean, honestly, if this is a ladder game and I see that, I'm just Ling Flooding every time, taking my bets. But we'll have to see what he's planning to do with this here.
Yeah, we saw Hero do this sometimes, but actually still walling the ramp into the main at least. So it seems like a couple of these cheeky Protoss players are experimenting with whatever this is. I've yet to really understand the actual logic and reasoning behind it just yet, so I would love to see more games of it. So yeah, I'm sitting here as a student of the game right now, trying to figure out what in the world is going on in some of these Protoss players' heads.
Yeah, indeed. Very, very interesting stuff. I mean, we're going to see 2 more gates going down now, so they would be finishing in time to deal with Lings, I guess. And you have the Adept as well, which can sit behind them. Reynor just now taking his third base, which SOS will confirm, and then that probe will go home, and it's going to be a Twilight Council follow-up.
Yeah, likely to be some Glaives is what I would have to suspect, given how many Adepts are being made, and just the way the timings are working out. I could see him doing some kind of like initial, maybe like 6 or whatever Adept without Glaives push, and then it looks like you're just doing a little bit of Adept pressure and then taking a third or something, and then it's just actually a surprise, oh, I'm actually making more Adepts with Glaives as well. Like, I've seen Hero actually do something similar to that. I'm not sure, I don't remember if it was off of the same thing where he's doing the one base, like the in-base gate or whatever, but I've seen him do something like that, and it kind of catches the Zerg off guard because they see the initial Adepts without Glaives and like, oh, okay, well, I don't have to worry about a follow-up timing for a little bit while longer because there's nothing else that can come. But then the Glaives come in, so we'll see if this can catch Reynor off guard.
Yeah, he warped in the Adepts. Well, I mean, the Overlord sees that it's coming right now. Reynor's only on 36 drones. He hasn't droned like crazy or anything. He's going to be able to make units from now on, and he may be able to have enough here. I mean, he is still probing behind this, but here come the Adepts. The first shade in is going to be at the third base. Will he commit to this? No, he will not, and he's just on the edge of creep right now.
Yeah, I like this. He's not actually just going to suicide them because he's still setting himself up for the glaives anyways later. And yeah, I love that too. A Dark Shrine. That's going to be really cheeky. You saw Reynor cancel a Spore Crawler just earlier as well once he scouted that it's not going to be Oracle. And so this could potentially bring in some really interesting flavor to this PvZ. And yeah, so he's just constantly sending these shades out just to threaten them and just to potentially make Reynor stop making any drones. And then he's making sure he keeps them so that way the second follow-up glaive attack will be just as strong. And then the DTs will come in for the next third punch to potentially knock him out.
Yeah, this is such a cheeky build here coming up from SOS. The Dark Shrine is actually in the natural, so this Overlord will not spot it. We have so many Adepts here. This is so much to worry about as a Zerg player. And on the back of it, there's a Dark Shrine that you need to be ready for as well. We do already see some Spore Crawlers down, so he will have detection in his bases. There's actually not one of the natural, though. I believe just one of the main and the third base right now. So it could be very important where those first DTs do go into. He's still warping in Adepts. He's going to be able to defend his third base, which he's taken behind this as well.
That's actually really annoying timing, though, because the Dark Shrine is about to finish, so the DT warp-in will be a little bit later, which means these Lings potentially could have scouted it, but don't actually get it. Now there are drones in the natural, so once the DT does find its way down there, it will actually find damage, provided that the Dark Shrine continues to stay unscouted. And so we'll see if these can really turn the tide here. SOS taking a third base all behind this as well, so he's not all in with this by any means. Is he going to let that finish? Okay, it looked like for a second he was, which would be extremely counterintuitive. I would love him for him to shade into the third right now or something. But does he not know? Is he going to send the DTs to the third? Does he not know there's a spore there?
Well, he just shaded into the natural, and he saw there wasn't a spore there, right? That's
what I'm saying.
So he might be shading all the Adepts into the main while sending the DTs to the natural. That would be the move that makes the most sense to me. And right now, that's exactly what we see, Gemini. The DTs run into the natural. There is no detection here right now. Reynor does have a layer, but we don't have any Overseers on the field or in production, and the drones start to fall.
Honestly, I kind of wanted him to just right-click the hatchery. That could have been such a ballsy move that really paid off well, because there was not an Overseer already being made yet, and the Spore is so far away. 10 drones is still awesome. Nice body block to get one of them, but 10 drones is still great. Clicking the hatchery could have been a super ballsy gamble move as well that could have potentially paid off, but still really nice damage from SOS with this hidden Dark Shrine that was hiding in the natural, so the Overlord didn't actually scout it.
Yeah, going for that hatchery can pay off big, but there's a lot of risk reward, right?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
If you get the hatchery, amazing. But if it just barely survives, then you got nothing with this. So I kind of like the choice to go for the consistent damage and going for the workers. Like you say, he gets 10. That brings his work count up to a decent amount compared to the Zerg. Behind this, we see a lot of gateways going down. We see charge. We see +1. There's no storm or anything like that right now. So it looks like SOS is going to continue the aggression in this game.
Yeah, I do kind of like the idea of a follow-up push. However, it seems like Reynor is not really planning on trying to over-drone or anything. He's already making a good swell of Lings, some more Roaches. He's already going to have a pretty decent army to combat whatever SOS has to bring to the field. And so this might end up actually biting him in the butt a little bit, because he's going to be basically all-inning into someone who kind of is also all-inning. With so many so many Roaches being made instead of drones, Reynor is looking like he's going to be very well prepared.
Yeah, and we see a Baneling Nest as well, so he's going to go Road Ravager, Ling, Bane, which can be very good against the composition that SOS is going for. He's actually adding a Robo Bay right now. If he's able to get up to that tech, that could be really good, but I feel like he might not have time.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely very difficult, and I feel like that's got to be Colossus, because Disruptors are absolute they're terrible.
What did you want to say there, Gemini?
I don't know. I was going to say
they're not
something.
the best against.
They're pretty damn bad against Zerg right now. I'm just going to say that. So I'd be surprised if it was Disruptors, but this attack coming in from SOS, I feel like is going to be very difficult to make work. I also realized he's got charge, and I thought he was honestly going to be going blink.
Yeah, he went charge,
but it's a charge Archon follow-up, which is very interesting. I guess considering you already have the Dark Shrine for Archons, it's kind of an okay play, but since you already saw so many Roaches as well, it's honestly, I feel like, better to go for the blink. And so now the mass Roach army will be able to just pounce on this and force a recall while we're trying to make Colossus back at home versus a mostly Roach army.
Yeah, Reynor's not joining his 4th base. He's just adding a couple more on there. He's only at 70. He's going to be hitting a timing here as he maxes out. All these Banes morphing in. Baneling speed is almost done. He'll definitely wait for that. And then he's going to just launch this massive attack. 2 Colossi in production right now, Gemini. If those can get out and get in a good position. Oh, there's actually a Contaminate, though.
And he's supply blocked on the other Colossus until just now, so that wasn't actually able to come out. A singular Colossus is all that he's got to defend here, with a bunch of charge lots as well. The Banelings need to make nice connections onto those charge lots, and you can see SOS trying to keep them away from the fight until the very last second when he knows those Banelings are gone, trying to soak up as much damage as possible. The Banelings find the probes instead on the transfer out. Well, that will now allow the Zealots to come walking in, but there's just so much here from Reynor. He's just eclipsing SOS in supply.
Yeah, huge snipe on all those workers there. So, you know, even if you survive this, you're going to be down. The Colossi, basically all he has going for him right now, frantically juggling them with this War Prism, trying to get as much DPS as he can, but there's just too much Zerg. And Reynor will take game number 2 with a very sharp timing there.
Yeah, I honestly like the stuff that SOS brought. It's very interesting. It's kind of fresh. It's this type of unique style that you expect out of SOS. He's not going to be bringing out the standard Oracle into 3rd base, into +1 Blink, and then Storm. Like, that's not what SOS is going to be trying to do. So I like that he still has his style, but it's just so hard to make that stuff work versus someone like Reynor, man. He's so diligent with his scouting. He knows his timings. He knows what he can get away with, and yeah, it just showed here.
Yeah, Reynor looking absolutely on point here in the first set of the day. There is a world where he drones up his 4th base and you get a huge number of Colossus out and you try to make a big timing hit before Lurkers or something like that, if that was Reynor's game plan. But Reynor said, no, I'm not doing any of that. You've been so aggressive all this game. You know, your tech can't be that advanced. So I'm going to pull the trigger now before you get up to those high tier units, and it works out.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for him. He's going to have to try his best over in the lower bracket versus whoever will be losing in our next match. But before that, make sure you guys go over to the tastelessthreads.com and pick up some of our offline finals tickets. Come live with us.
Come live in Korea
Come
with
live
us.
in Korea, so that way you can find just a train ticket over. I mean, you're going to have to fly over anyways, I guess, but whatever. Come buy one of these tickets. Come watch us actually talk in person with these people playing in front of you, and so you can see it all happen live. Offline finals happening next month. There's not as many, offline StarCraft II events nowadays, so we're trying to bring ours into Korea here to see what we can do with it. And honestly, I'm very excited to see what we can do with this event that we've got planned. And you guys can come join us with those tickets. So please, come join us. It would be so sick.
It's going to be hype, man. It's at the big place, big games, big prizes.
Oh, nice.
Cannot wait, man.
It's going to be great. We got more StarCraft coming up after the break as well, so don't go anywhere. More RSL to continue.
Down on the high ground is key. Will Reynor go?
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Group D here in Season 3 of the RSL. Boy, you and Sturgeon had some fun with that last series. We were just talking before we went live today about how SOS, he's kind of lost that magic. I know he just got too old, but he's been playing a lot of macro games, and then to have him play a Mothership Rush and then a 2-base DT opening was so much fun versus Reynor. But we're about to go into a TBT now. Ryung versus Maru. I think we got to give the advantage to Maru here, right, Gemini?
I mean, yeah. Ryung definitely a TVT sniper, I would say, though. That's definitely been his title, I feel like, for quite a while in StarCraft's history. So I still feel like Ryung potentially could bring something out here. Obviously, this is a team kill match as well. Maru and Ryung still on the same team, Vitality, and so they have basically been best friends for forever, and they just know everything about each other. And they can't seem to escape these team kills. This always happens all the time with us, but for some reason we're back again. So I'm still excited to see if Ryung can bring something special here.
Yeah, Ryung's one of these OG guys who just always has something special cooked up. I've even seen him, I think, bring out mech on some of these new maps versus players like Reynor. It's been really fun to watch him, and let's see if he can take down Maru, the top dog for Terran here in Korea for maybe a decade going on now, and a TBT specialist in his own right. Map 1 going to be Winter Madness, and then we're going to Celestial Enclave for set number 2. And should we go to a map number 3, it will be played on Botanical. So 3 new maps here.
Yeah, I love to see some of the nice variety, as we just had a couple of boring maps from our last series. A bunch of boring gamers bringing out really old ones. Now we got a nice set of new ones for you. Winter Madness, like you said, the first one going to be coming on up. A very beautiful looking map, I should say, by the way. I very much like the colors and everything. It's very cool looking. It's very good. These map makers are pretty good at making some artistic looking maps.
Oh yeah, I feel like the maps have been so beautiful for the majority of StarCraft II's history. But personally for me, like I like the snow theme when we're here in the studio with the bright lights.
Yeah.
But when I'm at home and every single light in the room is off except for my monitor, I kind of get flashbanged on this one. It might be a veto just based on that.
You're one of the basement gamers that just puts all the lights out and they just don't have anything else but the monitor?
Yeah, I'm alone. It's like 30°C in my room, but I still have a hoodie on.
Nice, yeah. I like to still keep a couple lights on. I don't want to just the full lights out is for when I'm watching a movie or something to get the full immersion. But the gamer time, I still need some lights on. I don't know.
I want to fully immerse myself even when I'm playing StarCraft II there, Gemini.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a little bit tricky on these snow maps. So we have Maru down here in the bottom right. I'm wondering what kind of openings we're going to have from both of these folks. Maru, he's usually been favoring more of the technical sides of TVTs. He's really good at just getting kind of a ragtag group of 5 different units, making some real magic happen with them across the map, and it'll be fun to see because I feel like whenever you have a rotation in the map pool like this one, it always makes it a little bit easier to be aggressive. Yeah,
that's true, especially because a lot of players just don't really know where the best spots are. The attack paths maybe are a little bit different, or maybe some units kind of get split in awkward directions, or maybe you just don't know where the best proxy spots are, especially in like PvP, for example. But TVT, you don't see as much of that. Maybe you'd see like a proxy 2-Rax Reaper or Marauder or something, but I feel like it's not the most popular thing as of late. But regardless, yeah, the new maps do tend towards aggression overall. Everyone just has to kind of feel it out to know exactly what they can get away with, and so that's always on the cards, but nothing super crazy just yet. I wonder, did he see that SCV?
I don't think he did. That's such a cute little hiding spot there for the SCV. That's awesome. All right, SCV going to be pushing up the ramp right now. Bold SCV going to be leading the charge over here, but a second Reaper will soon be done here for Ryung. For now, he does have to pull back, use this SCV as cannon fodder for the Reaper of his own to defend the command center here on the low ground as the Reaper finally finishes and just stabilizes the position.
It's kind of cute. I like that idea, just to put the SCV out there. Maybe you can get like a hit if the Reaper's not paying attention, or just soak up a shot, so then you can get a little closer to get your shot off first or whatever. So a cute little play from Maru. Doesn't quite really work out for him though, but I like the attempt. And just going to be going for the expansion behind this as well, kind of mirroring exactly what's happening with just a little bit earlier of a starport as well compared to Ryung. I believe Ryung got an extra Hellion or something out. It seems like he has just an extra unit or two to try and combat what Maru has, and will get the jump on the Reaper, gets the first one for free. A nice pickoff, and even a question mark coming out from Maru. I love it.
Oh, big laugh from Ryung when he pushed in there. Maru with a bit of a smile of his own. It's always fun to me whenever you see the players chatting like this, how they sometimes do in the RSL, because it's almost like, you queue up a ladder game in like the early 2000s, and you're like, hey, where are you from? And then the Lings start running up the ramp. Yeah, for a moment I was wondering if it was Ryung asking the question before he pushed into the natural expansion.
I was even
of Maru.
thinking the same thing. It's like, actually, they need to stop talking. It's like, I don't know. This is when does it become too much? That's so funny.
Yeah, the Terrans especially are quite chatty, I've found.
Yeah, well, I guess they have a lot to talk about with, I don't know. They like to,
you got to find humor in your life some way.
They like to run their mouths. They don't have much to go for, I feel like, lately, so, you got to get something. But yeah, it's going to be some Ravens coming out for both players as well. The hodgepodge of units is going to just continue here as we get some continued chat from both these players. They do not want to stop talking to each other. It's so funny.
All right, going to be a Raven opening here for Maru, going very quickly into the Siege Tank. Ryung, I think, making a second Cyclone, actually, so a little bit more of a mobile composition. And actually, look at this, going for a very quick Interference Matrix upgrade as well. So Ryung getting a little bit technical here with this opening.
Yeah, I do like it whenever they do go for the interference matrix. I like the... If there's something I do like about TVT, it's sometimes these interesting early games where they try to like bust really quickly with a lot of Ravens to like, interference matrix the tanks, and then you can kind of just jump on their position really quickly. It just kind of leads for some kind of interesting engages and stuff like that. So Ryung might be trying for something like that with this fast interference matrix. Well, Maru also going for it as well, just a little bit later. So just rounding out this early game composition of just getting the Ravens, getting some tanks, eventually going into what will likely be bio with some stim and combat shield just a little bit later as this third base sets up, or it could be mech.
It could be mech. Mech kind of is the premium composition in TVT, and we've seen a lot of Terran players like Maru, like Gumiho especially, just catapult themselves into those Sky Terran and mech compositions very, very quickly. But we say that Maru starting stim pack, so that's not going to be the play coming in from our blue Terran player. At least Ryung, as of yet, has not shown his hand, and I wonder now with interference matrix done, or at least I was wondering if he was going to try and make something happen, but it seems like he will be levying a little bit of pressure here on the potential third base of Maru. So not really waiting for that interference matrix to be done, instead just waiting until he has a critical mass of units.
Yeah, he's got a pretty threatening force here, and Maru's kind of split around in his main and natural, so there's a chance maybe that he can find like a unit here and there and then just kind of jump and snowball it. He's got a really large army. He's got like a whole 10 supply up on Maru at this point, still with the third base coming and a double eBay behind it. There's the first interference matrix, second to follow as well, and there's the jump that we were talking about. SCV's forced to be pulled. There's definitely going to be some damage here from Ryung.
Yeah, the missile turret's able to absorb a lot of the impact, though, here for Maru. And that means that Ryung, he's not really able to capitalize too much on the interference matrix pumping on those two siege tanks. Instead, he's going to start inching himself closer and closer towards that natural expansion. Yeah, that siege tank just barely clipping the refinery here, and the natural should have vision from these Ravens. And Maru looks like he has a little bit more energy left on the Ravens in total. He might be able to throw down a couple more auto turrets, but no, it's actually just going to be an interference matrix.
Does the interference matrix prevent you from unsieging?
I think it does, but
that must have been
Ryung
the
just clicked
timing.
it. Yeah,
I was like so confused for a second there. I was like, wait a minute.
I think it's just like how with the new change on the abduct, as long as you siege it right, you can dodge the abduct a little bit. It's a similar thing here with the matrix.
Nice, yeah. Good timing to keep that alive at least, so that's good. No counter damage from Maru just yet. But this third base coming down so much faster from Ryung will let him get his economy boosted really quickly. Maru's going to have to try and get this a little bit later, and obviously the units from Ryung still here to potentially delay it, and that's what he's going to try to go for. It almost jumps it, but just doesn't really want to go just yet. We'll just continue to shell it from afar, and Maru's going to be the one to try to break it.
Yeah, a little bit of an SCV pull as auto turrets get thrown down on both sides. It looks like Ryung just has the better arc right now. Maru is sieging there on the back line, but he's not able to push through the position despite two interference matrices on the tanks on the left side. He's going to have to lift up the command center and pivot down towards the 6 o'clock expansion, I imagine, because Ryung is just in such a commanding position with this tank line right here. We already saw it earlier when Maru first tried to take that third base. He was walking into a trap. His first siege tank got instantly popped by the 3 siege tanks of his opponent. And now Ryung knows that Maru's pivoting down to the 6 o'clock side, and he's not letting him take it.
Yeah, this is a really interesting game from Ryung. I mean, he's really just took control of it from the very beginning, just keeping that tempo in his favor, not letting Maru take any of these third bases. He's just fully set back on 2 bases this entire time. Maru had the faster 1-1 for his Marines, so it was going to be able to keep him pretty nicely into the late game. Actually, there's no combat shield yet either for Ryung, so lots of things were cut from Ryung to be able to get this position, but it's really paid off well for him. He's booming ahead in supply at this point, and Maru is only just now getting that third landed and finding any sort of leverage on the map.
Yeah, the units lost tab really does tell the story. Ryung has been so much more cost efficient with the units on the map already, and with that third base mining uninterruptedly for the majority of this game now, it's just been a huge boon here for Ryung as he stims forward again. Another interference matrix on those tanks on the back line as Ryung is able to push through at least to the third base for now. He's going to use this to inch himself closer and closer to sieging. Maru proactively denying that by getting his siege tanks forward on that command center, but I mean, the supplies really do tell the story. Ryung has been in such a great position, even from the early game. It's 71 SCVs to 52.
Yeah, that's actually a ridiculous lead to have in a mirror matchup of an economy situation. Like, absolutely ridiculous. The 2-2 also is fully on the way for Ryung. Maru, despite having the faster 1-1 finished, he had to cut this to be able to get any more units out to stay alive, so his 2-2 will be extremely delayed. Maru pushing out a little bit here against Ryung as the reposition comes in, and a nice volley of tank fire actually getting onto those Marines will force Ryung back, and that will even up the supply just a little bit as Ryung still doesn't really want to just let this go at this point. He wants to continue the pressure and continue this contain on Maru and make him fight for it.
Yeah, but Maru's making a lot happen with very little right now. One of the reasons why he's able to muster this many forces is because he's skipping 2-2. He's skipping +1 vehicle weapons. He realizes that he's behind economically. He has to make some concessions to open up a window where he can get something done on the map. And right now, before 2-2 is done for Ryung, that is Maru's window. So he's pushing very aggressively, inching forward, just leapfrogging with the siege tanks, with the Liberators, trying to push Ryung back. But that's a big armor-shredding missile on those Marines. Maru has to disengage for now.
Yeah, this is really just super close from both these players. Just this tiny line they're dancing on right now is absolutely ridiculous. Each doing little tiny sieges and unsieges here and there, putting a Liberator slightly more forward. The Raven missile as well onto the bio is absolutely critical for Ryung to make sure Maru can't just jump him. And now he's really found himself into a nicer position, though, is Maru, but potentially going into a concave up on both of these ramps is going to be so difficult for him to push up into, I feel like.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to have to pick and choose one side. That will be the south side here as a couple Marines stem forward. More Liberators now joining the forces. 2-2 is finally done for Ryung. So Maru, he delayed that upgrade for a very long time. He's going to have to pay the price right now. But it seems like it's these more technical sieging units. It's the Liberators. It's the siege tanks that are carrying the value for Maru. Ryung, based on the minimap, he's either setting up a big counterattack or a flank. We'll see what the play is going to be as Maru stems up the ramp, and it's a little bit of a meat grinder on both sides. The bad news for Maru, this is only half of Ryung's army.
Yeah, this is going to be a massive counter push coming in from Ryung. Maru not expecting this whatsoever, everything rallying across to meet this main army, and now Ryung's bio is going to have free reign into the natural. Tank not siege, Liberator not siege, forced to go back into the main base here as Maru now needs to make a huge punch into the natural and third base of Ryung to stay in this game.
Oh, and Ryung, he focus fires down so many of the supply depots, even depots that have the extra supplies drop down on them. So Maru, he is big time supply blocked here. He's able to force a liftoff on the third command center, but his natural expansion is already vacated. Looking at the minimap now, the third base is under siege. That's going to go down to these 2-2 Marines. And I think Ryung is very close to taking this one. Maru, he still has a 2-2 upgrades coming into the natural expansion, but there's basically no mining, and the army supply absolutely dwarfed by Ryung.
Yeah, this is going to be so difficult for Maru. He's basically got like only tanks as this army, and he realizes that Ryung with an upset first game win against Maru in this second match today.
That was an incredibly impressive win coming in from Ryung. He got the smallest of leads in the early game, and he just held on to it the entire match. And I got to give credit to Maru because he was looking like he was down and out when he lifted his third command center, when he had to get it sent over to the 6 o'clock position, and then that got denied. He had to pivot it back to the triangle third, and there was such a delay in mining, whereas Ryung on his side of the map, he's just happily gathering all these minerals, all this gas. He's getting the fourth command center set up even. But Maru, he made so much happen by delaying 2-2, by delaying +1 vehicle weapons. He used that little tiny surge in money of not making that investment, whereas Ryung did make that investment, and he almost pushed back, but Ryung at that point just a little bit too strong.
Yeah, it is honestly really impressive, just the things that Maru was able to make work even in these awful situations. Like, yeah, sure, he lost, but like you said, it's like being able to identify, like, okay, I need to cut this, this, and that, and then I actually have a timing. And it almost worked.
Yeah.
If he didn't just get counterattacked super, just unexpectedly, he still has an opportunity there, I think, to really drive that home. I love that Ryung also then kind of realizes the situation and says, no, I can defend up this tiny ramp. It's so difficult for him to push up here. I have a window now also to go for a counterattack and a real killing blow. And both players just showing their absolute expertise of this matchup. This next game surely is going to be just as good, I hope.
Yeah, the decision making on both sides was just so cool to watch. Ryung definitely getting the better edge on that one, and even going for the counterattack, that is just him making a judgment call, like, you know what, you do have a very strong push coming here in the front. You've got the siege tanks, you got the Liberators, you're doing this leapfrogging tactic, but can you actually deal with just a big blow at your natural expansion, do you really have enough stuff to deal with this 3 medevac push into your expo? He didn't, but that's going to be Ryung.
Spoiler alert. No.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ryung down here in the bottom left, the red Terran. Maru in the top right, the blue Terran. Ryung leading the series 1-0 already in very impressive fashion.
Yeah, we kind of said that if anyone could upset Maru here in the TVT, it might be Ryung, the TVT sniper himself, coming right back in. Always a threat in these TVTs, it feels like. But, I mean, I feel like it would be a hard ask to say he's going to 2-0 Maru at this point. Like, Maru, I don't expect him to just bow out all of a sudden to go into the losers match right away. It would be kind of funny as well. Imagine he does go to the losers match and then SOS is there. Remember that one time, long time ago, when it was Maru SOS? I think maybe like a Katowice or BlizzCon or something, and everyone's like, no, SOS, no chance at all. And then you totally 3-0s Maru out of nowhere, and just like everyone's like, what the? Like, no, not this. Could happen again. Who knows? Maybe Maru dips out early.
SOS has always been a little bit of a wild card. Speaking of wild cards, okay, for a moment I got excited. I was wondering if we're going to have anything hidden over here in the natural expansion, but no, just using that the little glass shards there.
It is really weird when you first play it too, because like that's actually that's the default scouting path. Like it just goes there naturally if you just click across, and it's really awkward. So like you kind of don't realize what's actually happening if you don't send the scout right away. You have to account for that a little bit. So yeah, we'll actually just go there and just loops on out. That's actually pretty funny. He just goes right in, sees everything. He's like, all right, I'll see you later.
Yeah, it is a cool little circuit this SCV does. Love to see it. This map, one of my favorites of the new additions. It just plays very differently. We got the worker-only path. We have this expansion here in the backside, which you see it's only, 5 mineral patches. Whoa. A couple of those are low minerals, only 1 gas, so it's kind of like half a base.
Yeah.
And Maru, before even throwing down a factory, is going Reaper double expo, whereas we have Ryung actually throwing down a bunker back at home. He doesn't really know what's going on.
Yeah, that's a really interesting play from Maru. I kind of like it. Just something weird, something that goes to the map, basically. Like you're saying, it's an in-base natural, so it does allow you to kind of do this. Even though it's less minerals, less gas, you can still get away with something like this, as there's only that worker-only path that can actually go over there unless you drop something. So maybe this will catch Ryung off guard and totally just make this early game something that Ryung is not really used to, because this is a very new map and a very new situation for him.
Yeah, and actually thinking back to game number 1, I think in neither of these games did Ryung go for an early SCV scout. That's why Maru left that one SCV in the bushes in game number 1 to pair up with the Reaper to try and get some compensation for having all this lost mining time. He's like, all right, well, I lost the mining time going for my SCV scout. I'm just going to try and at least delay your natural expansion. Here in game number 2, he recognized that Ryung once more not going for an SCV scout, and that means that Ryung, he has to play kind of safe. He has to do things like throw down that bunker there, the natural expansion, because he doesn't know exactly what the big picture is on Maru's side of the map, and Maru just exploiting that with a very fast third base. Double engineering base, I think, got thrown down, and 3 barracks, still no factory.
Yeah, this is a pretty ridiculous build coming out of Maru. I love to see it, though.
It's like a TVZ build almost.
Yeah, seriously. It looks like he's ramping up for an 8 racks or something. It's like absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, 1-1 stim mass bio is going to be the play here from Maru. We'll see when he actually does throw down that factory in Starport to eventually get some medevacs. Surely you need to have that in a TVT. I would be very surprised if he just YOLOs it with only Marine stim and 1-1. That would be absolutely ridiculous. But for now, he is just kind of cranking out as many units as possible to make sure that he doesn't die to any sort of random attack that might just come his way. But seeing that third base getting dropped down from him will honestly just kind of get those woes out of there. He's feeling probably pretty good about this setup.
So Maru starts combat shields and 2 more barracks before the factory.
Wow.
And that means that he's going to have a timing lined up with 1-1, stim, and combat shields, should he choose to use it.
Goodness.
Which is just going to be such a blunt object to hit Ryung over the head with in a couple of minutes here. He is just slowly amassing this group of Marines, and Ryung, he is throwing down his 3rd command center right now. He's going for a Cloak Banshee opening. That's over here at the 3 o'clock, just waiting for that upgrade to be done and potentially to pair it up with some army here on the front door. I don't think we have any turrets here for Maru, but What a force that Maru's mustered here at the natural expansion already. I'm wondering if he's going to be moving out here in just a moment.
And we got the polar opposite happening from Ryung as well. He's going into mech after this.
Yeah.
So we're going to have the full-on, super fast 3-base bio play against what is then going to be a meching Terran, which is honestly a pretty good map for it as well. Lots of high ground positions on this map. Very difficult to walk up into those choke points. So this is actually going to be pretty interesting to see the classic mech versus bio TVT matchup. We'll see how Maru is able to navigate this, of course, and when he actually wants to strike with this massive amount of units that he's going to be able to accrue here. It's still going to be very difficult to be sure, but I'm actually kind of surprised that Ryung's actually taking the right-hand base. I would have thought that he would have kept to the high grounds going for mech, but yeah, it's kind of interesting.
It's also interesting that he's waited until now with these 2 Cloak Banshees to move in, and I like this move a lot. He knows that he's playing the slower composition in mech, and so he's going to cause some problems for Maru on Maru's side of the map. The one moment where Maru finally wants to move cross map and get some damage done. Now, these are +1 Marines, so 3 of them, just barely don't get that Banshee there at the natural expansion. And now at the third, did they finally kill it? Perhaps they did. At the third, 2 more Marines coming in. They are going to try and shoo away this Banshee, so that 1-1 getting some value early on here for Maru as he forces a lift off on this 3rd CC.
Yeah, I kind of like this. It's a really random move out. There's no medevacs, of course, but it's something that maybe Ryung wasn't expecting. There's just enough units here. Wow, he's actually stimming in for this.
Whoa.
That's kind of a ballsy move as he tries to get a couple of the tanks and the Cyclones, but then runs in to a couple more tank shots. I don't think Maru was maybe expecting that many tanks on the back line there, kind of losing a lot of units to try and get some sort of advantage on this low ground to continue delaying the third, but that's just going to mean he loses a lot of the bio, and we'll now just have to let Ryung take this third freely.
All right, scan coming in. That's the last Banshee going down right now for Ryung. I'm trying to think back to that fight. I don't know if that was a good enough trade there for Maru on paper, but you think about it, in Ryung, he had the 3rd base get lifted. He's been a little bit delayed in the SCV production. This might be the kind of move where Maru's like, you know what? I'm happy to take a slightly inefficient army trade to snipe 1, maybe 2 tanks, and also get a handful of SCVs that are rallying down here. It was 6 or 7 in total that got taken down, as Maru's already setting up for his 4th base, and I guess he's just trying to snowball a little bit because, as you said, mech is the premium composition. It is a little bit better here than bio if it's able to get completely set up, but Maru just trying to throw a wrench into the works before that happens.
Yeah, you really have to be on top of the mech player, just having drops going every which way, keep the pressure on. You can't just let them sit back and make their insane army comp, because that is their win condition. They want just the massive bulldozer army to just be able to walk across the map and have it be totally impenetrable. So Maru is constantly going to be on the map from this point out, coming in yet again to this 3rd base, trying to break it. Not many tanks on this low ground. They're over onto the left-hand side, and a lot of Vikings in the sky to try and kill off the medevacs, but that doesn't mean they're going to do anything against this bio. So then the 3rd forced to lift again with another 11 SCVs getting killed off in the process. Maru finding a grip on this game.
Yeah, there really isn't a lot of support for these siege tanks on the ground. It's almost a pure siege tank Viking composition coming in from Ryung. He's got 4 Marines in a bunker, and that's it.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of strange because the Vikings are also kind of going over to the left-hand side, maybe looking for a drop or something, scared that they might try to go into his new pocket base as well. But the units are just sitting over on the right. They're still here, and he's going to go in yet again, splitting off nicely to make sure the splash damage doesn't do enough. Comes in, gets a tank, runs back out. That tank's got to unsiege eventually unless we just target fire those Liberators. He's going to try to do so, and will get both of them. Will lose a decent number of the bio units and also a couple medevacs, but kills off the Vikings anyways, and he's still got that tank there to force this 3rd base away. 7 more SCVs as well. Ryung just can't find this 3rd base position, and Maru keeps going ahead.
Yeah, importantly, Maru just keeps thinning out that siege tank count. Ryung is trying to build up to a critical mass, and he's just not getting the opportunity to do that because every time Maru stims in, Ryung is losing 2 or 3 tanks, and his tank count is just entirely reset. So he's not able to fully establish this base down here at the 5 o'clock expansion. Even though it hasn't been spectacularly cost efficient here for Maru, he's been able to make it work. And also with those Marines, those 2-2 Marines, stimming forward, taking down the Liberators, taking down the Vikings, that opens up the opportunity to finally come in with a drop. Up until now, it's been so risky.
Yeah, I love that calculation from Maru, realizing the weakness that he's made for Ryung. He's forced that weakness, and now he's going to go full on into it. A massive drop coming into the natural here. So many medevacs, so many tanks as well is going to make it really difficult for Ryung to engage into this. SCV's getting murdered left and right as Maru is almost already up 100 supply at almost 11 minutes into the game. This is looking completely hopeless for Ryung at this point, trying to get anything into his main base. Tank sieging, but getting killed off immediately. What hope does Ryung have at this point?
Maru's just a wrecking ball. He keeps throwing these groups of bio in, and eventually they do get cleaned up, but at what cost there for Ryung? As Ryung is going to tap out. Our series is tied up 1-1. Maru was taking a 5th base by the very end of that one, whereas Ryung would reset down to 2 command centers. That was a really cool game, and what an awesome build coming in from Maru. We had 1 barracks, 3 CC, and 2 double engineering bay.
Just the mega greed.
Stim, combat shields, and I think even 1-1 before the first factory.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah, just totally greed, trying to get every corner cut, and it worked out incredibly for him. I love just the way that he's able to identify, again, similar to the last game, just knowing what he can get away with. And especially in those fights as well, like you're mentioning, sure, he was maybe not trading perfectly efficiently, but he was still limiting the tank count every single time. And that's what I think you said is the most important part, because if they can actually get their critical massive tanks, it becomes so impossible to start denying these bases. But he tries to go as early as possible and just continue to limit it one at a time, and you just can't get anything set up as Ryung, and it's so difficult to actually defend. Maru just showing, yet again, a great understanding of the first game, even though he lost, but then also coming into a new matchup with a mech matchup and still knowing exactly what to do.
And I wonder now, as set number 3 as we played on Botanical, whether Ryung is going to go for an SCV scout, because to me, what Maru did in game number 2 is just him responding to Ryung's decision not to scout, both in game 1 and in game 2. Ryung's like, you know what, I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm not going to adapt based on what my opponent's doing in the early game. I'll save that for the mid game or for the late game. And Maru, he might have gotten caught off guard by that in game number 1, where Ryung was a little bit more greedy, but Maru just kind of turned that on its head. He went for a super fast 3rd command center. He boomed up his economy about as fast as you possibly can in a TVT. And I feel like if you're Ryung in this situation, you really want to check what Maru's doing, because if anybody in the world knows how to exploit your opponent not scouting, I feel like it's Maru. I mean, the range of builds that he's got dwarfs basically anybody.
Yeah. You can throw out basically anything. Like, you really shouldn't know what to expect versus him. I was actually kind of curious if we would see maybe a double proxy racks in this game of all games. It might be kind of interesting to throw in that mind game, but it doesn't seem to be the case. It will be a fast gas coming out from Ryung as well, though, so that might tend towards something here. I am not a Terran player, so I'm not going to pretend to know what that means, but it might mean something, but we'll see in a little bit.
Maybe he can get the Reaper out while still going for a really fast factory with this opening. That's what my mind jumps to. I've been off racing a little bit with random, but I don't think my Terran is. I don't think my Terran is good enough to analyze the gas first.
You're playing random.
Yeah.
Do you say race at the beginning?
Oh no! If they ask me, I just say random.
Oh, you're the worst.
I'm one of those guys. Yeah,
you are the worst type.
And if
person.
I get if it's a ZVP, I'm doing the 12-pull drone pull.
No, you're not. I bet, dude. No, and then if it's what TVP, you're proxying double barracks Marauder or something because they put their pile on the low ground. Is that what you're doing?
I actually had Scyther, the Australian Terran, coaching me a little bit, and I wasn't proxying the first couple of barracks. I was proxying barracks going up to 8 there, which kind of put us players off guard because they said in the hallucination scout, and they're like, "Oh, you're going for a 3rd CC. You only got like what 3-4 barracks in the main base," and then
ratty.
It's actually 7 racks.
That's
SCV
the most
pull. I'm
disgusting
coming,
thing
baby.
I've ever heard.
I mean, it's a random player. You got to do the random thing, right?
Dude, I hate random players, man. God, you are the worst. I can't believe you gave me this information.
I was still playing Protoss on the Korean server, but you ladder the Korean server. If you play it super late in the day, it kind of gets dead, right?
It's very, and then there's like
I ran them on NA.
Yeah,
I let them suffer.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
There's like a couple of these just random unranked random players.
Oh, I'm not
on Korea.
Unranked. Yeah.
No, but they're unranked random players. There's like 3 or 4 of them that I always run into after like 7 o'clock or something at night. You have to now bring your random against them and start to make them feel the pain as well. You got to give it back to them a little bit. All right, this is my mission for you, Steve. Please.
Maybe. All right, SCV and Reaper again coming here into the natural expansion of Ryung. Actually catching Ryung a little bit off guard, as Maru's Reaper is going to have considerably more HP at the end of this exchange, so Ryung might potentially have to wait until that Reaper heals, or at least until an SCV can come down and assist it, because he's going for the reactor. He actually doesn't have the boots on the ground to shoo this Reaper out of his natural expansion. Oh, what a cheeky move coming in.
Whoa,
again
he's doing
from
dance
Maru. Yeah, you
moves.
saw that.
That was sick.
Oh, second Reaper actually coming in here for Maru. This command center is getting delayed so significantly, actually. Maru just threw down his third CC.
I'm sorry.
No, it
so
was a very cool move. I felt like I was watching Olympics breakdancing there for a moment, but
I'm sorry. I don't know why that was so funny to me. But you know, the CC is so insanely delayed. It's actually ridiculous. Like, this is such a better opener from Maru compared to the first time this happened. And like, yeah, like you said, the third CC is already halfway done when the natural of Ryung is almost halfway done. Like, actually insane.
I think Ryung might have even had to drop the extra supply down on the depot because he was planning on using the CC for the supply.
That's insane. Dude, Maru is so far ahead from the smallest little engagement. That's what he was trying to do in that first game. Like, we saw it at the first game, being like, well, he tried. He didn't really get anything. Maybe it's, you know, it could be doing something cool. And now we saw the actual maximum value, I feel like, of that move. Just bring in an SCV, gets the little jump, and now the CC is so delayed.
Even in game one, I thought it was a pretty good move. It still delayed the command center by like 7 or 8 seconds, which it doesn't sound like a lot because you don't have a lot of workers to saturate it, but that means every single SCV coming out of that base is 7 or 8 seconds late. You know, it's a tempo move. So I like that a lot there for Maru in game one, but yeah, really flexing the muscle with that movement here in game number 3, getting a lot of economic damage done. As far as the build orders go, we already have the third CC done here for Maru. I think he's actually morphing the orbital and the main base on that third CC the same time Ryung is morphing the orbital to natural. It's just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. And now he sees that finish too. He's like, God damn it, what the hell is happening in this game? But he gets four Hellions, I should say, into the mineral line anyways. Tries to target down some SCVs, only gets 3. It's all right. It's gonna even up the SCV count a little bit for now, but Maru has got 3 CCs already done. He's going to be able to make so many more at this point, and Ryung realizing what position he's in, he's got to just be like, all right, I got to put this down on spot. Like, I got to find a way back into this game somehow, because Maru's about to eclipse him in economy so quickly.
It was also a really small thing Maru did, but I love the decision not to pull any of those SCVs when the 4 Hellions drop in the main base, because it might be intuitive when you get Hellions in your main base, oh, you better run away with those workers, but you definitely don't want to line them up. So Maru's just like, all right, take your best shot. Ryung only getting 3 SCVs as a result, and Maru's sitting quite happy here, I think, on what should soon be 3 bases. He's getting up to the full 2-base saturation now, taking up into a second starport, so going to be a really air-focused TBT game.
That is very interesting. Yeah, I'm curious what this actually is going to be. It's just going to be massive Viking, or is it like he's going to put a tech lab on there to try to get a couple more Ravens out to continue with the air dominance? Like, yeah, this is going to be quite interesting. The 4 Hellions even find the SCV and run right back out. That's very nice. We'll just continue with Mass Viking as well in the air. I would love to see how this actually pans out for Maru, because this is going to be a much different look to the early game compared to what we saw in the first 2 games.
It's a really good approach when you play these early Siege Tank compositions here as Maru. In fact, in some of the TBTs I've casted recently, you even see players throw down a 3rd or even a 4th starport, because the Vikings, especially now with the patch, they're 25 minerals cheaper.
That's true.
They're very good even when they land at dealing with a lot of threats, and so much of tank versus tank is just about who has air superiority in terms of vision, so you're not dropping scans all the time.
That's a very good point. I actually totally forgot that the Vikings were changed at all. So yeah, that's actually really interesting to see what type of style that this actually has led to. And he's even going to go and follow it up with Liberators and still go into Stim as well. I was curious if he was going to full-on go into Mech with that, but it's still going to be Bio to follow it up, just with a lot of air superiority to start it off, just to make sure that he can't get out-positioned or anything with the extra vision. So he's going to always have that in his pocket, basically. Going to try to chase these units across the map here to try and kill these off, but there is a drop coming in the back end as well. Maru's going to have to be able to pay attention to that at the same time. We'll see if he's ready. Does pull the SCV, so a few do get killed off right away, but there's not really much here to defend from Maru. Needs to bring the Liberators to defend. That's a bit awkward.
How often do you see Liberators defending a simless Marine drop here? So I feel like I'm checking one off the bingo card. Maru now pushing into the 3rd base interference matrix onto these siege tanks. They are both able to unsiege, but Ryung, despite that, is going to have to disengage from this position. And this actually might be enough Vikings just to take the command center out. I didn't even consider this when he pushed into the base. One SCV gets there to try and repair. It is not in time.
That is brutal, dude. Ryung cannot find anything in this game. Just every single thing is going wrong for him right now. Loses the medevac over on the other side of the map as well. And now the Liberators, with this massive air advantage, will just start being able to kill off these tanks one by one, just inching them forward. There's really nothing to actually combat this. I think it's like a couple more. It's 11 Marines in total. Where are they? I feel like I barely see any of them. They're actually some over here, some over on the left side as well. They're totally segmented, unable to get under these Liberators since there's tanks also on the low ground behind them. Maru is just going to be able to creep this forward slowly, and I feel like just choke Ryung out.
Yeah, these units just work so well in tandem with each other. SCV pull coming in as the Marines stem forward. All right, 3 disables going down, 2 on the siege tanks, 1 on the Liberator. Actually, a 3rd siege tank even disabled here. So Ryung, he's trying. This might be his last breath as he tries to push through. Maru now landing the Vikings. The auto turrets are dissipating, and Ryung at least is able to hold the natural, but at the cost of 23 SCVs. And Maru is still happily mining on 3 bases, as a wonderful observer Mapu pointing out. A massive income disparity in the advantage of our Blue Terran.
Yeah, that is a hold, but a big asterisk on the side there. It's going to be really difficult for Ryung to find anything from this. He's basically just going to go across the map, I feel like, with whatever he's got, because there's not really anything else going for him. 29 SCVs back at home. You can't make a macro game out of that. A couple of Ravens even getting caught up by the Vikings. Thankfully, doesn't actually lose them there. Nice micro, nice awareness, but now we're just sending it across with whatever we have. The army is quite large. Maru's only sitting at 43 compared to the 68, and there's actually a 1-1 upgrade lead for Ryung as well. So this is his only moment, and there's actually a slight chance that he does make this work.
Yeah, this is Ryung's time. He needs to try and get an angle of attack here, but Maru's already entrenched himself at the junction between the natural expansion and the 3rd. So Ryung, he sees that. He pivots down over here. He's going to attack in from the south instead. No siege tanks to protect that, but Maru, he spots it, and he picks off a couple of these starport units of Ryung as well. Only 2 medevacs in total right now for Ryung. As some SCVs get pulled, they're going to be the meat shield right now for these siege tanks. Marines also coming in here on the top side as the Vikings. Looks like Maru considering dropping them on those siege tanks, but instead just retreating. Liberator getting some work done. Siege tank getting himself deployed right now to protect it. And I think Ryung, he's running out of steam on this push.
Yes, he is running out of steam and has lost everything. Only a few tanks left, a couple Marines coming in on the rebound, and a medevac to join them. He had no medevacs during that entire fight either, so all of those Marines just eating the tank shots and everything. No hope whatsoever. Maru comes back after losing the first game and solidifies it 2-1.
Yeah, wow, what a game. Number 2 and 3 coming in from Maru, but also Ryung just really impressing me with his TVT chops. That was a very close series from start to finish, and Maru really had to pull out some trickery both in game number 2 and game number 3, some subterfuge with the build orders, with the tactics to try and get an upper hand, because Ryung, it felt like, especially based on game number 1, if he could just lock in the macro and start playing his game, he was nigh unstoppable.
Yeah, man, it really was a masterclass of TVT, I feel like. You can tell that both of them are at the peak of what TVT knowledge even is. They both really understand the matchup really well, all the little little quirks about how the builds work and everything, so really nice to see. Maru will be joining Reynor in the upper bracket, the winner match, whatever you want to call it, to see who will become the first one out of the group into the playoffs. It will be another non-Protoss state. Look at that. They do exist.
Thank goodness. You know I love me some Protoss, but with Max Pax, Zaun, Classic Trigger, and then Hero getting in first as the first 5 players. And I welcome another Terran or another Zerg joining us, or I should say the first Terran potentially joining us.
That's also true.
In the playoffs, as we are yet to have any. Kure and Beyond, they both came very close there, 3rd place in Group B and 3rd place in Group C, but so far, just 1 Zerg and no Terrans here representing the non-Protoss races in the RSL.
Yep, would love to see them joining, but I would also love to see some more pro gamers signing up for our LCQ, which is happening in a couple of weeks, actually about a month or so. We have our LCQ, but the signups do end next week as well on the 21st of November, so please be sure to sign up. This is the final way to get into our offline finals, the last player to play on our final day on Sunday will be from the LCQ. So please sign up if you were in the RSL qualifiers for any of the events or in the main events and did not make it into the offline finals. That's your chance. So please sign up. We would love to see more players coming on in.
Yeah, and that LCQ, it's not something that's happening online. That's going to be there on day
Right
number
here.
1 of the finals. It's going to be a good old-fashioned LAN with a ton of players. I was going to say Protoss players, but that's also true.
It's also going to be a ton of Protoss players.
A ton of players there in the finals fighting for that final spot, so we hope you join us. Fellas, we're going to take a short break. When we get back, the winners match here in Group D. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome back, everybody. It's State and Sturgeon on the mic as we go to the winners match here in Group D, about to send one of the last players into the RSL playoffs. Is it going to be Reynor? Is it going to be Maru? We're about to find out.
This is going to be peak StarCraft II, guys. It doesn't get any better than this. We also don't see too many ZVTs in the RSL these days, so yeah, I enjoy every one of these, especially when the players are as good as these two. We haven't seen Maru in this matchup for a while, so I kind of wonder how he's playing the matchup right now. I think the last time I saw him play it was when the Cyclone patch was kind of the thing that everyone was using. So things may have changed. I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, I think this might actually be the first ZBT that I am casting in the RSL so
Really?
far this season. I'm thinking back to... Did we have any of them in Group A or Group B that I personally casted? I know Solar was there, but
I don't think we had any because Solar and Bunny were in the same group, but they didn't play.
Yeah, Solar just played a bunch of Protoss players.
Right, yeah.
Unfortunately for him, and then in Group E, we just had, Classic here, Creator, and Trigger. So, yeah, going to be a first for me. I'm glad that I get to cast at least one because who knows how many more we're going to have in the playoffs of RSL Season 3 as the map pool is coming in. Celestial Enclave, Tokamak, and Winter Madness here are going to be the 3 sets for Reynor versus Maru. And Reynor versus Maru feels like it very well could be an RSL Finals, Sturgeon.
Yeah, that's how good these two are, man. Both top players. I'm really curious how Reynor's playing ZVT right now. We saw Shin yesterday bring out a whole different range of styles. He was playing, Lingbane into Fast Ultra. He was playing Lurker builds. He brought out a 2-base Muta build. He brought out a whole variety of stuff, so I'm wondering how Reynor likes to play this matchup right now. One thing we can say is the matchup has kind of shifted back towards more Baneling styles after they got that HP buff again. So I'm expecting something with Banelings, but apart from that, who knows?
Yeah, getting plus 5 HP certainly does help those Banelings a lot versus Stim Bio. And additionally, the Spire change is pretty significant. Even though it might not seem like it, it's minus 50 minerals, minus 50 gas, and it builds a little bit faster. So in total, you might be getting your mutas out 8-9 seconds faster than you would before, and that means that a lot of timings that potentially could have made those mutas, or those mutalisks would have been very vulnerable to, where you're just waiting for them to finish to get them in time to hold on. Now they might actually be done. So I wonder if we will see any fast Spire play coming in from our Italian Zerg.
Yeah, no, it being 50 less gas also means you can, take your gas later than you would normally do, so you can prioritize your mineral income. The change seems small, but it can actually really speed up those Muta builds and get them onto the map more quickly, as you said. Right now, we're looking at some pretty standard openings here, as we have Reynor in the bottom left and Maru in the top right here on Celestial Enclave.
Yeah, Reynor's going for a hatch and a pool here in the bottom left side. No gas just yet, as it looks like he's actually going to be going for the in-base, the little pocket expansion here. So a 2.5 base build coming in here from Reynor because there's only
gas.
Yeah, there's only 5 minerals and only 1 gas there. That expansion is... I guess you can just defend this with queens and structures and slow lings, right?
Yeah, you can for sure. Eventually, you're probably going to need speedlings or roaches if you decide to go in for a roach build after this. But very cool to see how Reynor's play. And this is a map-specific build. You can't do this build on any other map. You can only do it because you have this pocket base hidden at the back on Celestial Enclave. And right now, Maru checking this third base. Where is it? But it's in the pocket. The Reaper, of course, is nimble enough to jump up there and go and scout that out, so I'll have to see if Maru is able to get that information or not.
Yeah, and if we play with no gas for a long time here, as it looks like we might, as Reynor is going to be dealing with this Reaper. Actually able to get that one drone. Usually you don't see the early drone go down there, but with a grenade, Maru was able to push into a spot where Reynor could not throw down a Spore Crawler because it would have been blocked by the minerals. Some nice early damage coming in from Maru.
Yeah, we often see, a ling or two go down. That's not the end of the world, but losing a drone can feel quite bad. On the flip side, he's gone for a quick 3 quick hatches, so he'll be able to make up that economic deficit. And Maru actually going to mineral walk through this little patch here. That is one thing that you can do, which is very cool. And you will get confirmation that it's a pocket base.
Yeah, and Maru himself is also going for the pocket expansion on his side of the map, so really fast 3cc build coming in, as this actually looks like Maru versus Ryung from earlier, where we had 3 barracks and 2 engineering bays before factory behind 3 command centers. Here we go. I told Gemini it felt like a TVZ build. Here we got it again.
It's really nice as a Terran to be able to take your 3rd CC on site, like on the base. You basically never get to that. Another drone going down to this Reaper. What a menace this has been so far. It's been super tricky here, trying to avoid these Zerglings. He would love to get out, but it will go down eventually. But he did his job. He scouted the 3rd. He got 2 drones. That's pretty much the dream come true.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome there from Maru. And the drone kills, it's not like he lucked into them at all. The first grenade, it pushed the drone to a spot where it couldn't throw down the Spore Crawler. And then the Reaper, the second time around, was body blocking the drone. So the drone could not throw down a Spore. Oh, really good early game control here by Maru. Just trying to eke back some of that economic advantages. Reynor's, he's got a lot of money flowing in. The first gas is just now online. +1 speed. Zergling speed. Oh, can you imagine there's +2 speed?
Zergling speed? Start zooming around the map. They should add that to the game. Adrenal glands. Why don't adrenal glands make Zerglings faster? Think about it. It makes sense.
No, thank you, Sturgeon. No, thank you.
It makes sense. You know what? You're onto something there, State. We'll have to bring that up with Blizzard. But yeah, Reynor's been droning like a madman. He's up to 50 versus the 38 of Maru right now. Obviously, mules do help, bring that back to more even. He's making lings right now to deal with this move out from Maru. He's also trying to take down the rocks. I don't think Maru's going to commit here. He's just trying to force a few lings out from Reynor and will probably back off because it's very scary to commit in here once Zergling speed finishes.
Yeah, I imagine if there is going to be a commitment, it might happen with a follow-up push, although these Marines, they are stutter stepping towards that hatchery. Without creep, these queens can't really get into the action that easily, and Maru might actually be able to use, I was going to say, if he chooses to go down to the bottom side, he might be able to use the minerals as a part of his shield, but
yeah, but
they're kind of low range, right? It'd be hard to take down the hatchery in that time.
Indeed, and he's going to lose all these Marines. I mean, Zergling speed is finished now, so these Marines are essentially donated here. That's a big win for Reynor right there.
Yeah, certainly a huge one. For Maru, I thought he might just push back after seeing the hatchery and wait for 1-1 and stim to be done, as they were maybe 20, 30 seconds away, but instead he tries his luck. Unfortunately for him, Reynor just had enough lings on the map to clean that up before any of those upgrades finish here for Maru.
Yeah, maybe the plan was to be there as the 4th base wants to go down and try and cancel it before he gets too much HP on it, but we did see it was already over halfway done, so it's able to survive, just barely, and he does lose all the lings on the back of it. We see an infestation pit coming down now at 550 or so. This is about as early as you can get it. 1-1 on the way as well for lings. This is looking like an ultra build right now.
Oh, I love it. One of my favorite ZVT builds. Actually, I will say it is my favorite ZVT build ever.
Are you going to commit to that?
Yeah, I mean, Shin was busting this out. I want to say, God, what event was it where Shin was the first player to really just use this a ton? And I just fell in love with this opening so much. We'll see if the Hive tech comes in the moment this infestation pit is done. Yep, there's the Hive and a Baneling Nest and another hatchery here for Reynor. So he's going to have a ton of larvae for the Ling accompaniment to the Ultras. And ideally, Ultra Armor should be finishing around the same time as +2 Carapace here for Reynor. And despite the fact that Maru went for really fast double engineering bays, those Ultras are still going to be really hard to deal with these Marines.
Yeah, I love how fast this Hive is coming out here for Reynor. As long as he can survive with the Ling Bane in the mid-game, he's going to have a really strong timing once those Ultras finish, as well as the upgrades, as you mentioned. These Marines got to be a little bit careful. Okay, he does stim. You don't want to lose any of these. If you can, he's going to try and pressure as much as possible with these 2 medevacs.
Yeah, Scan comes in, does spot the infestation pit. Where's that Hive going down? It must be the natural expansion, I guess, because, yeah, we don't have that in the main base. About 75% complete now. Baneling speed +2 Carapace getting started here for Reynor, as well as +2 melee attack. There's a ton more lings are in production. Reynor doing this on a relatively low drone count, just now starting 7 more, so he will be going up into the mid-70s in a moment. But until now, just been really focused on staying safe because he's been so greedy tech-wise.
Absolutely. He knows his Ultras are on the way, and as long as he survives until those come out, he should be in a good position. A few different squads of Terran units moving out, and the Widowmine to start to burrow. Reynor has to be very careful here not to run a pack of Lings into those. He will need some detection as well, a couple of Overseers. He's actually able to drag the Terran army home though, which I think is great for him. Maru doesn't want those Lings to run by and, you know, dart into the natural base there and start killing SCV, so he's buying himself time to get his Hive Tech out.
Yeah, no Ultralisk Cavern thrown down just yet. Reynor is looking at this army on the board, and he's like, you know what, I can't wait until Ultras. I think I need some more Banelings right now and some additional upgrades. 2 more gases getting taken here by Reynor as he's trying to find out exactly where Maru has his army, and are those Lings going to head into a Widowmine? I watch the minimap and see exactly what that is. Is the Marines also cleaning this up? Yeah, it looks like a big pack of Lings went down to that Widowmine. So you called it, Sturgeon. It's a little bit of a dangerous game. Trying to run around with all these Lings. And now Maru finally collapsing at this junction between the natural and the third base here for Maru at the 6 o'clock. Reynor trying to defuse all these mines so we can get some counter damage in. And now the Lings and Banelings, they're not all done just yet. He's going to be running in. The Banelings going to try and find the connections here onto the Marines. They do have the assistance of the creep, and so many of these Marines are in the red, but the Marauders standing strong there on their front lines. I don't know if Reynor's going to be able to break through and stabilize here.
This push is absolutely insane from Maru, hitting so hard before those Vipers come out and any other Hive Tech, which Reynor may have wanted to go for. The Marines do have to pick up in the end, but I think they've already done a lot of damage here. Maru's up to 4 bases. He's on 70 workers. He's taken great trades so far. And I think Reynor's been too pressured to really go for his tech. He's tried to make Vipers to hold this push. I mean, eventually, you're not going to stay on Lingbane the whole game, right? Like, eventually you're going to add something here. I like that Reynor's being active with different sets of Lings on the map, though, trying to pick off reinforcements, look for an opportunity to backstab. This Widowmine will get picked off. These Marines are on creep. Okay, but they just get picked up in time there.
Yeah, and I'm watching that production tab, just holding my breath, waiting for Reynor to throw down the Ultralisk Cavern. It's all hands on deck, trying to just hold on right now. 2-2 is finally done here for the Italian Zerg, and that's going to go a long way towards at least equalizing the upgrades here with Maru, and now he feels safe enough to throw down the Ultralisk Cavern, but still no 3-3 just yet. Reynor knows he needs to save that gas for the Ultras, potentially for some more Banelings. I say that actually, he's starting +3 melee, so Reynor maybe feeling a little bit confident, but Maru's coming in for another blow.
Yeah, this Terran army is huge right now. Nice connections with the Banelings on both sides, actually. Reynor with some good engagements here. This is what he needs to buy. Oh, he even gets a medevac with a bit of friendly fire from that Widowmine. That is very nice, but the creep has been really pushed back all throughout the map right now.
Yeah, for a second I was wondering if Maru was going to make Reynor pay for committing even more resources into upgrades here, but Reynor with just 2 beautiful engagements, one all the way down to the bottom right at that expansion, then another one in front of the natural expansion and the third. Able to hold on there as the Ultralisk Cavern is done. Reynor not queuing them up just yet. Instead, just trying to hold on the front. These Banelings getting really deep. Those Marines heavily in the red. Widowmine actually killing a couple of them.
Yeah, I like that he sent it in just small waves of Banelings to set off the mines, try and get connections on the Marines as they're on creep. And now he sends in the real force that he has once the mines have been detonated here. Once again, Maru forced to pick up. He does have enough medevacs to pick up everything, even the reinforcements. So that is very nice. And now Reynor's starting to get to where he wants to be in this game. He's on 80 drones. He has Ultras coming out as well as their upgrades. Oh, okay. Nice micro there at the end. Doesn't lose too many to the second Widowmine. But this push is not stopping anytime soon, State. Maru is really going for it here.
All right, another engagement coming in from Reynor. He's trying to stop. There's so many mines here, though. Great spread from Reynor coming in. The Ling's trying to find enough of a connection, but these are 3-3 Marines and Marauders pushing in, so the Ling's not doing all that much damage. So many of these medevacs very deep in the red, but it seems like there is just enough healing for Maru to get closer and closer to this expansion. Finally, the first Ultra is done, but no +3 armor, no Ultra armor just yet, and these are +3 Marauders, so much damage getting done on them.
Yeah, the Ultras finally come out, but the first one dies without having any impact, basically. Another one there frantically being transfused will just barely stay alive. But this is too much Terran right now, I feel like. Maru is powering through. He's going to target this hatchery down if he's able to. He does get it. Another Ultra is going to go down to the Widowmine. And Maru in complete control here on game number 1.
Yeah, Reynor talking to himself a little bit. You can see there on camera. As losing that base, just a critical moment in the defense. I don't know if he's going to be able to push Maru out of this position as the bio. It might be deep in the red, but there's just no way for Reynor to really get a finishing blow on it, and the cost efficiency just speaks for itself. Plus 7,000 resources in the advantage of Maru. Oh, what a game number one between these two. Absolutely delivering. And honestly, great play by Maru, because a lot of the strength of this kind of Ultralist style is getting them on the board extremely quickly.
Right.
Getting that Ultra armor especially done before 3-3 is finished. Sometimes around the same time that 2-2 is getting wrapped up if Terran delays the upgrades a little bit there in the engineering base. But Maru put on so much pressure that Reynor never felt safe. Despite the fast time, he never felt safe enough to go into that super quick Ultralist cavern. He never felt safe enough to get in those critical techs like the +3 upgrades super quickly.
Right.
And as a result, when the Ultralisks finally came out, they didn't have armor, and additionally, the Marauders were already +3, so they just melted.
Yeah, they went down right away, and I want to go back to like the beginning builds of this game, which I think lined up really well for Maru. Both players went for 3 very quick bases. But if you're taking your third pretty soon after the Zerg as the Terran, especially on site, I think that's really good for you. We always talk about Zerg wanting to be up 1 base or even 2 bases in this matchup. So I think the builds lined up really nicely here for Maru. And he just had some insanely strong pushes at times that Reynor wasn't quite ready for. Like you say, he wasn't able to get those ultras out with the upgrades. And Maru's macro machine was just churning, going crazy. He had so many units so quickly.
I felt like the only real hiccup in that game for Maru was when the initial pack of Marines got cleaned up by a ton of Lings, but he just wasn't anticipating Reynor having quite so much, and there was such an economic engine behind it that he didn't really mind it too much. It might have delayed the inevitable pressure coming in from Maru, but not significantly enough that it would have allowed Reynor to get a lot of breathing rooms in terms of macro of his own.
Yeah, very interesting. Like we were saying, that's kind of a map-specific thing. I don't think we'll see that again in this series. You can't really take a quick third base before speed as a Zerg, and you can't take your third TC on site against the Zerg as a Terran because they can just flood it with Zerglings or do whatever, right? You just can't build it there. So I think the rest of the games look pretty different, but that was a very cool kind of macro-based opener from both players.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I'm super excited for this new map pool, not just in RSL, but also now in the ladder pool on the Blizzard client too for StarCraft II. Because
so nice, man.
It means you get some unique games like this one, especially with a worker-only path. It really mixes things up. But for game number 2, we're going to go to Tokamak here. So a little bit more tried and true, a little bit more standard for both of our players, as we're going to see if Maru can win one more game and go to the playoffs as the first Terran in the RSL playoffs for Season 3, or if Reynor's going to fight back and force a Game 3. I'm excited.
Well, I would love to see a Game 3 between these guys, as most of us would, I'm sure. And I'd also like to see a non-Protoss go through, regardless of who it is. I think it's going to be hyped to have these guys in the playoff bracket. So we'll have to see who is able to come out on top. Map number 2, as you said, is going to be on Tokamak. We have Reynor here as the blue Zerg in the bottom left, and Maru as the red Terran in the top right.
All right, what kind of builds do our players have in store for us? I agree with you. I doubt we're going to see anything like a gasless 3-hatch opening come in from Reynor here on Tokamak LE, as it's quite the distance for those queens to walk to either the triangle third or that third base at the 6 o'clock position. And as far as Maru goes, we might see more or less the same build, except with the command center on the high ground, right?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. It's obviously a very strong macro Terran build. Like you say, you even used it in the other matchup, TVT as well, something similar. Got different towards the mid game. But as we see for Reynor, it's just your standard hatch gas pool. And on the back of this, Maru will be going for a Reaper expand, most likely.
Yep, that Reaper getting started right now here for Maru. This will likely be throwing down that command center on the low ground. Interesting that Maru didn't go for the low ground wall-in, as it seems like a lot of these players, even though be unpopularized it a couple of years ago, and it was all the rage in TVZ for a long time, especially out here in Korea, they've been walking it back a little bit. I feel like we're not seeing that opening build order placement deployed quite as much as we do these days.
Yeah, I think it lends itself well to the 2 racks and 3 racks Reaper builds that were really popular a while back. And you still see them sometimes. I think we saw Björn with a 2 racks Reaper build yesterday against Shin. Not this game. There is going to be a CC just going down on the low ground. No wall of the natural, you say. This SCV is going to see... Oh, he's actually sent out 2 drones. So to guarantee that his third base cannot be blocked by the Reaper and SCV combination.
That's a really smart move, actually. I feel like I rarely, if ever, see something like that come in from a Zerg. That's something Dark would do. Dark's
Yeah.
always been one of these players that is very tricky with the drone movement when it comes to placing hatcheries.
Is he going to get another drone in this game? Okay, he does have the space to actually make a building, a structure there, so he's able to save the drone. No Ling's gone down and the Queen is out, so everything will survive this game for Reynor. That's one little hiccup in the last game as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Two drones going down to the Reaper can have a big effect in a snowball fashion. And there is the third CC in the natural.
Yeah, third command center coming online here for Maru. This time, a little bit different from game number 1. He's not going for the mass barracks opening at the very start. He's not getting the really quick double engineering bay. Instead, going for the factory play as we're waiting to see what it's going to be. It's going to be a second factory from Maru on the back of the 3CC.
Ooh.
What on earth is this?
Wow, we may have some blue flames on the way.
Yeah.
He could go for the Cyclones, but I feel like that's fallen out of fashion somewhat. We'll have to see exactly what he wants to do there. He's going to need an add-on there at some point. Yeah, I'm very curious what he wants to do with this, how he's going to use these units. Reynor's making a lot of queens, though. He's got his Zerglian speed on the way. That's what you need to deal with this initially before the Hellion number gets too crazy. And there is a tech lab there as well.
Yeah, could this be a 3CC Hellbat Marauder push? Because I'm a little bit confused by the placement of this tech lab. If it was closer to this factory, I would think that he would just switch into it straight away. It's a little curious, right?
Yeah, I think you may be right there. If we saw him switch the tech lab
there's
onto
the Marine.
And just the Marine. Okay, interesting here.
Huh. Yeah, it's an interesting choice. I guess this is just for the two blue flames. And it also makes sense. He got Drilling Claws in the last game against the Ling Heavy style here of Reynor. You can go into the blue flame Hellions to get early map control. You just get your stim pack there with the tech lab on the barracks and tech up normally and bio-wise. But then when you pivot into Widow Mines, you've got basically 3 factories worth of production, and you have room to get Drilling Claws on that tech lab.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's going to switch that onto the factory here once he has enough. Oh, no, he's going to go stim here. Okay, this is... I'm curious why he got the tech lab so early, though.
Yeah.
He got it quite early and didn't put it to any use for a while. But, okay, it is going to be blue flame into stim. Probably a bio follow-up behind this. Very cool build coming out from Maru. And he's hiding the Hellions there on the ramp. He doesn't want to show these to Reynor, who has that Overlord perched outside the natural.
Double engineering bay now getting thrown down by Maru. On Reynor's side of the map, his lair about halfway done. Baneling Nest also about halfway done. Is Reynor's just droning happily along. A couple more Lings getting made right now for safety, as I wonder if he caught wind of exactly what's going on just yet. A couple more drones are queued up right now by our Zerg. He's moving into a natural expansion, which looks very empty.
Yeah, he did see a number of Hellions move out. This might look like the normal number of Hellions, in a standard macro game, but there's so many more joining up here with them, State. You got to be ready for this. I mean, you need like a wall or some Banelings or some Roaches or something. This could be huge economic damage if he's able to get into this natural bay, the third base, which he's going to go for. The drones evacuate, but they're all in a line. If he can catch that, there could be so many going down. Takes out the Lings first, that makes sense. The drone spear, though, coming out from Reynor is pretty good, minimalizing the losses, but a lot of them going down. 9 already, but a lot of the Hellions fall in here. Will they be able to get any more?
I think they might. Oh, that evolution chamber is so clutch right here on the left side of this expansion. Hellions have to work their way behind the minerals. One more drone going down here in the mineral patches. The Queens are scrambling, trying to get some more economic damage done. And we do have a couple more Hellions in production, at least one more right now. So I'm wondering where this is going to go for Maru. He did get a lot of economic damage done, but I think if you go for 2 factories and blue flames like this, you're hoping to get maybe just a little bit more in terms of drone damage.
Yeah, he did get 11, which I think is completely acceptable. It's not like a failed attack, but it's not the kind of 20 or so that would end the game, potentially. But he will be going for a strong macro-based follow-up behind this. Going into bio now, using those factories to produce mines 3 at a time. He could have a really strong push here in the mid-game once his upgrades finish.
Yeah, these Widow Mines are going to be clutch in terms of splash damage. Reynor's been loving the super Ling-heavy compositions. Very larva-intensive, and we already saw in game number 1 how just a couple of stray Widow Mines scattered across the map against a player who is as proactive in the map control department as Reynor is, can play into Maru's advantage. So already with Widow Mines coming out 3 at a time and Drilling Claws getting research, this could absolutely go Maru's way.
Yeah, and Reynor's going to go into Roaches behind this, which will deal with the Hellions very well, obviously. The problem is they won't deal with an upgraded Bio Ball once they get there, 1-1, 2-2, and eventually 3-3. He will be adding in those Infestors, though, going towards the Hive. Infestors can make or break this matchup. If you can get a big fungal on the Bio Ball, suddenly the Roaches with Bios can just take everything out.
Yeah, the Roaches feel like a unit that you use to stabilize yourself at the mid-game to get to that Ultralisk Cavern a little bit faster. I think it's one of the reasons why that Ultra Cavern was a little bit later in game number 1, is if you're trying to rely just on Lings and Banelings, oh, it's really scary. Because if you just don't get the connections on the Banelings, suddenly the game is over. Or if the Widow Mines get very good connections, it's over. And it's also very Larva intensive. So Reynor, at least until 2-2 is done here for Maru, should have a little bit more of a formidable army here on the ground.
This is very cool by Reynor as well. We see him getting +1 melee and +1 range. So both the Roaches and the Lings will have the upgrades. Big Fungal on the bio. He's able to catch all these units and take them out. The Widowmine goes off on just a couple Zerg units there, so good. Okay, you'd like to keep those Banelings alive, but still a good cleanup by Reynor. Yeah. And he's up to 86 drone estate.
He is, but for how long? Okay. I didn't catch that the Roaches and Lings are getting over to the Triangle expansion quite so quickly, but yeah, Reynor is going to be there in time. Maru will not push that drone count below 86 as we have the Ultralisk Cavern now coming down. And I feel like this is a much more comfortable position going into the Ultras in game number 2 than it was in game number 1 here for Reynor, but unfortunately, +1 Carapace is only just now beginning.
Yeah, indeed. He did go for the +1 melee and missile upgrade like we talked about. And curiously, he went for Neural Parasite here. This makes me wonder if he wasn't sure about the bio transition before that attack, and if he thought this was maybe a mech follow-up, because what are you going to neural in this army exactly? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he thought this was going to be mech. I'm not sure about that. Here comes a big Widow Mine drop. 2 in this base. 2 going to go to another base. Big connections there.
Yeah, the neural is certainly an interesting choice. I think you might be right about the not being sure whether it's going to be mech or bio, because it is a 2-factory opening when you go for those Hellions. Right. And one of the best mech Terrans in the world is Maru.
It's kind of the natural follow-up to a Blue Flame build as well, right? Like you already have the infrastructure to start making your mech units. It kind of makes sense, but this is a very tricky build coming out from Maru, who's still harassing, getting damage done while his 4th base goes up at home.
Overlord Speed now also coming in for Reynor. We know he loves to mix in his drops. I wonder if we're going to see any of those later on in this game. For now, he's just been trying to secure a 5th base. Finally, it is coming online here in the bottom right as Reynor is nearing max. +1 Carapace. Almost completed now, as Maru's going to be trying to get some damage done with these Widow Mines. He hasn't really been able to find too many openings here in the mid-game ever since that Blue Flame Hellion run by. Got, what, 11 drone duns in total? I feel like the defense for Reynor has just been ironclad.
Absolutely, and this can be one of the weaknesses of going for unit comp without Hydras or Mutalisks. You have not much that shoots the Medivacs, right? You only have Queens and Spores, so you're able to fly around, do these Widow Mine drops. I really like this from Maru. He's actually preserved some of his Hellions, which are now Hellbats, joining in with this push that he's trying to make happen. As he pushes on to creep here, all the mines start to siege. The Ultras lead the charge. They'll be able to tank some of these mine shots pretty well. He has the Overlord speed on the Overseers, as you said, so they will be able to detect very well flying in and out here, but he doesn't want to commit off creep.
All right, Ultra Armor nearly completed right now as the Marauders are going to be leading the charge here against the Zerg. Maru would love to take down this 5th base. There isn't another hatchery in production right now for Reynor, so a lot is hanging on the balance. And whether or not he can defend this base, look at the top left, Maru taking another expansion, so he is slowly but surely taking his side of the map. And for Reynor, he's trying to set up a big flank with these Roaches. Unfortunately, the Widow Mines not only are going to do some damage to that flank, but also spot it here. So Maru, he's retreating, he's stimming forward on the backside, while also getting some really good kiting in with these Marauders, and Reynor's going to have to forfeit the base.
Yeah, that Roach flank didn't quite work out. They ran into some tanks at the back, but instead of surprising the tanks, they were just taken out, right? So Maru's actually still max while Reynor frantically tries to replenish his supply. He did have a bit of a bank before that fight, so he's going to be able to do that rather quickly. We see 4 Ultras on the field, and he's still working on his upgrades. +2 armor now, as well as +3 melee on the way.
Yeah, and for Reynor, it's a lot of lost mining time, losing that expansion, and a lot of lost creep spread as well, as Maru's now pushing closer and closer to this 6 o'clock expo. Reynor, he's trying to get economic damage done with this Ling run by, but oh man, those Widow Mines got a lot of hurt.
Yeah, the Lings did actually get into that base, though, eventually. They're going to be able to take out 10 workers, which is rather nice. The main issue for Reynor, though, is that he's down to 4 bases right now. If he had a 5th base and he was still mining with all his workers and they were all saturated, I think you could say he's in a really good position. But once Maru cleans this up, I think he will be just fine. Yeah, that he does have another base up there as well. He's on 5 bases of his own. Reynor's going to clean up the remaining forces down here. These tanks in a bit of an annoying position to push into without taking too many losses. but Maru will just pick up and go home.
Liberator's slowly getting cleaned up here by the Spore Crawlers. Is Reynor, he hasn't even tried to send a drone out yet. Okay, now we see it there in the bottom left, trying to retake this expansion. Will he do the same here in the top left? Aw, Widowmine burrow there. Mapu highlights it already has 1 kill, so it did likely take down a drone that was trying to expand at the 9 o'clock. I was wondering why he didn't do that while there was the pressure going on at the bottom right, and that explains why. And look at that infrastructure setup there for Maru. So many barracks, Ghost now coming online, additional command center in production. As Maru's economic machine is just not skipping anything right now. I mean, there are no brakes on this train here for Maru as he pushes again into the bottom right.
Yeah, I really like the Sim City from Maru, just from an aesthetics point. Everything's so nicely organized and in-lined. It's very pleasing to look at. This Infestor, though, is burrowed near all these Marines. Will he pull the trigger? There's no other units to actually jump on that Bible if he were to get them, so he decides to save the fungal for now, but that is something to keep an eye on, as one big fungal can suddenly change the game here.
Yeah, more Ultras in production. +3 armor also now coming in for Reynor, trying to equalize upgrades here against a 3-3 Maru with +2 vehicle armor as well, so those Widow Mines extra tanky. And can this Infestor actually find the angle? Maru, if he's got a keen eye, he might be able to spot this.
Yeah, you're probably looking at the front though. He's even got a turret going up now to detect these Infestors that are sharking around the Terran army. One just out the scan range though. Still one behind. Will he decide to pull the trigger on that and unburrow? The Ghosts are starting to come on the field now for Maru as well, which is where the Terran late game gets scary.
It's a relatively low energy Infestor, so likely only going to be 1 fungal. We'll see if he can get it right now on those Ghosts. Indeed he does. Ultra's now coming in, but the Liberators are there on the front line. All right, Bailing's got a pretty good connection. That's a lot of those Ghosts going down. It looks like only 2 surviving, so Reynor with a much needed win here in the bottom right is able to force a retreat from more, but my goodness,
another fungal from the back.
Is huge.
Absolutely big plays here from Reynor, finding a way back into the game. I thought he was going to do the first fungal on the Marines because they were all kind of clumped up, but he chose a better target than that. He said, nope, I want all those expensive Ghosts, takes them out, and now suddenly he's turning this game around state and has Maru on the back foot.
Yeah, and Reynor needed to do this. You look at how much money he has coming in right now. It's considerably less mineral income here than Maru. He's yet to establish a 5th base. This is a 4-base economy Zerg trying to push back against a Terran who's encroaching all the way into the top left. And for Reynor, it was do or die. If he didn't make a big play like that one happen, Maru would be going into the playoffs with a 2-0 victory, but now things have kind of equalized.
Yeah, if you get up to those high Ghost counts, like 15, 20, for example, the Terran army becomes so incredibly scary. You have basically infinite snipes. But Reynor, like you said, it was do or die, and he made it happen. Beautiful positioning with the Infestors, dodging the scans, sharking around, and he gets that fungal off. Maru is not out of this game yet, though. He is still maxed out. He did have a bank to work with, and he's going to start pushing some of these new bases of Reynor's.
Yeah, Reynor trying to revitalize the creep spread here in the top left and in the bottom right. Then at the lane run by comes into this expansion. That command center really low, so Maru is going to lift it off.
Yeah, that base has kind of been the weak spot of Maru in this game, right? The Lings are constantly getting in and doing damage.
I'm surprised you don't have like a bunker with a couple Widow Mines over there.
Yeah, that would go a long way in dealing with this for sure. Reynor, though, even burrowing the Zerglings, just being annoying as possible with those. You love to see it. And these Liberators are going to start to try and harass. There's no fungal available here, so the Ultras shouldn't be able to get on top of those Ghosts.
Yeah, those Ghosts are going to survive for now. This Liberator getting some economic damage done. Just playing a ring around the rosy right now here with this Spore Crawler. As Rainer's going to have to vacate this expansion again. And you look at the mineral and gas income. Reynor, he's still not maxed. Maru with quite considerable amount of money in the bank. So another engagement is going to be coming in. These Ultras in the front line, very vulnerable. Plus, Carapace is now done. Bailing's actually finding good connections and a big fumble. All right, it only gets 3 of those Ghosts. It doesn't catch every single one. But even if it did, actually looking at the board now, there isn't enough army on the ground here for Reynor for a follow-up.
Yeah, that wasn't quite the money fungal you're looking for as Reynor. And so many Ultras, these expensive units go down. He's frantically trying to stay in this game, but I think Maru might be running away with this right now. A lot of Ghosts with medevac support, infinite healing basically. Reynor trying to take a goal base, trying to do whatever he can to get his money up, but he is out of minerals despite having 2k gas.
Yeah, the gas income was there, but having a 5th base delayed, or I should say denied for so long by Maru is just really painful economically here for Reynor. He made some dream engagements happen. He had some very cost-efficient trades, but in the end, Maru's economy is simply too strong. Even with all the Ling run buys, although this one gets denied, going into that triangle expansion there at the 3rd base for Maru, that was good work put in by Reynor, but it's just a small dent in what he's got.
Yeah, I really thought Reynor was making a big comeback in this game with the economic damage. More ultras going down here. This may be the final engagement. Maru looking to push through. The drones start to fall here. The Zerg army is in tatters. I don't even know what's left of it right now. Just a bunch of Corruptors and that Infestor. A few Lings up here going to try and pick off wherever they can, but there's a Widowmine. Nice hold position micro there. Is able to save some of those Lings. And Maru will rotate now to the other fresh base of Reynor.
And with Ultras and very little creep spread, it's almost impossible to secure this base, as Maru is going to take that 2-0 victory in the winners match over Reynor. He is going to be the first Terran moving on to the RSL Season 3 playoffs. For Reynor, he is not out of the tournament yet. He's going to be in the final match of this group. But my goodness, what a performance from Maru.
Maru looking so strong in this matchup. I haven't seen him playing it for a little while, but he still looks absolutely amazing. I really like the different builds he brought out here today. The quick 3CCs, the build we just saw, and then he's looking so strong right now.
Honestly, that was one of the more impressive TVZs that I have seen from Maru in a very long time, and that says a lot considering this is Maru we're talking about, because I know I've heard about his wrist problems or his shoulder problems. He has some kind of injury that makes it hard to control.
Right.
But that was peak control coming in from Maru in that series, and it was just confident bio play. It was so clutch. You love to see it coming in from the Terran GOAT in StarCraft II, and I'm really excited to watch him play in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Reynor didn't play bad or anything. Like, Reynor played really well, I thought.
Yeah.
Like, if that was a lesser Terran, he might have just won that game much earlier. But Maru on another level right now, State. And Reynor will have to move on to the next match.
Yeah, he's going to have to face the winner of SOS versus Ryung. But before then, if you're watching this live, we invite you to join us at youtube.com/@ReviveSC2. We love the support that you guys are giving us on YouTube. This thing is getting bigger and better every single day. But if you haven't joined just yet, we welcome you to drop by, subscribe, leave a comment, watch the video. Even if you're watching live on Twitch, just check it out sometime later, because we're still trying to get the word out here for RSL. I still run into people, I feel like almost on a weekly or monthly basis, who haven't heard of the RSL just yet, because unless you're really plugged into the news in StarCraft II, there's a lot that can fly under the radar. So we're trying to bring StarCraft II action to even more people, and the best way you can help us do that is to subscribe to the YouTube, click the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, all those very cliche things.
Yeah, if you've been living under a rock, this is your wake-up call that the RSL is happening. And yeah, please help us spread the word, guys. It means a lot and helps out so much.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, the lower match here in Group D, it's going to be SOS versus Ryung. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back, everybody. State and Gemini here. We're getting ready to go into the lower match of Group D, SOS versus Ryung. What year is it? What is happening, Gemini? I'm excited for this one. The winner's going to go up versus Reynor for the last spot in the RSL playoffs. Loser's going to be going home.
Yes, an interesting match here. Like you said, it's a bit of a throwback. We don't normally see something like this every now and then. But yeah, SOS versus Ryung. I mean, we saw some incredible builds from SOS already today. We saw a Mothership Rush. We saw some weird Glaive Adept attack into DT and all that stuff. And now SOS is channeling his inner dark side. He's going to just be sitting in the cave in utter darkness to channel the Protoss Hope as a... Oh, there you go. The monitor lights it up a little bit.
This is me when I'm laddering a home.
Yeah,
I told
there you go.
Yeah, that's why you don't... You notice there's no snow map. He banned it so that he doesn't have to turn on the lights.
Yeah. Ryung, on the other hand, sitting on the surface of the sun, apparently, as he's nice and bright and able to see everything. But Mothership is going to be our first map, and 3-player map means there's plenty of options for SOS. I think that will definitely favor him. I wonder if he was actually the one that even picked it in the first place. But yeah, this is going to be a potentially very hype match. Very interesting strategies could come out here from SOS. Ryung also can throw in some really interesting stuff here and there too. So I'm excited to see what we got.
Yeah, SOS and Ryung are two of my favorite players to watch. And even now in 2025, they can really put on some good games, as we saw demonstrated earlier on today. And I'm so curious what SOS is going to show us here on a 3-player map on a new map pool. This is Mothership LE. Look down at that minimap. It is literally a mothership. This map is so cool.
It's so sick. I've never seen a map that looks like this. It's like so interesting. It's so cool that they were able to pull it off and not make it look stupid, right? Like I feel like you try to do something like this and it just like totally falls flat, but this like actually it just looks like a mothership. It's cool.
And it also plays very well.
Yeah,
a lot of these 3-player maps, they run into this problem where their rotational symmetry means that one side is generally advantageous. Like, for instance, if you look at it right now, say Ryung spawns here on the top left, you might say that SOS spawning in the top right would be good for Ryung, or SOS spawning in the bottom right would be good for Ryung, and the opposite would be true, given the other spawns. But that's not really the case on Mothership. Just some way about... How should I phrase it? I think there's just so many diverse paths that units can go, plus the air blockers on the sides. It really mitigates any kind of imbalance that has been an issue and a plague, and one of the reasons why we don't see very many 3-player maps in StarCraft II. And it's fun to have a map like this one in the pool. It's, I think, the one that I was most excited about in the TLMC.
Yeah, it's cool that it was able to make it in, and it was basically, I think it was like the first voted map as well, so that's pretty cool to see it here as well. We've got the wrong scout coming in from Ryung, so that's always the fun part of the 3-player maps, is that you may not always get the right scout right away, and that means that there are some little things that you can cut here and there. Maybe your build is a little bit greedier, maybe your build has a proxy in a place that's really awkward. So it does kind of lead towards that, so it will be a little bit of a later scout from Ryung, but the Reaper still will be able to make it across anyways at a pretty normal time, since he was using the SCV scout to go earlier. Whereas SOS should be able to maybe figure out that the Reaper coming from the left means that Ryung is over on that side as well. Unless he already sent a probe. Actually, I can't remember. It doesn't look like he did.
I don't think he did, no, looking at the mini-map.
Yeah.
But he sees the angle of attack coming in from that Reaper, and so he's going to very quickly just hallucinate Phoenix, get some scouting information, but oh, that sentry out of position. 2 probes already losing their shields. Probes getting pulled, in fact. That sentry does not dispatch the Reaper very quickly, so one worker going to go down. Reaper's going to escape with a ton of life left. Will be regenerating very soon as SOS, with that energy recharge on the sentry, able to get that scout in, spot the factory. He knows that some kind of harassment is likely going to be coming his way in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll go into that Twilight Council. Very standard from SOS, nothing crazy just yet. But that doesn't mean that the craziness will potentially be gone from this series, because SOS still could bring out some really weird stuff, despite the fact that he is going for the standard Twilight opener. I really would be surprised if he goes for a Stargate or something in the series. It's just completely obsolete at this point. It feels like Protoss players just don't go for that. Versus Terran nowadays, it's very difficult to make work. So it will just be the blank coming up here for SOS for now, as well as an extra gateway. We'll see if he wants to go super fast into his third base, or if he's going to try to ramp up the pressure with some extra gateways and more stalkers.
We do have one more gateway coming in. So right now, SOS playing a little bit safe, as he's just going to confirm once more with the Phoenix Scout whether or not he can throw down this third command center, or third nexus, I should say. Does spawn. Widow Mine's cleverly hidden behind the barracks, one of Ryung's favorite moves. I think he does this more than basically any other Terran that I've ever seen.
I gotcha!
Those Widow Mines, they're always behind something.
They can't do it versus oracles anymore because no one makes them anymore. So they have to get their satisfaction by at least killing the hallucination and denying 2% of the scouting they would have already gotten.
Ooh, Stalker's actually catching this Reaper, able to take that one out. And I think that's going to be a probe throwing down to the expansion here, but it's not a very quick one. This is coming in after 3 gateways, after Blink, after the Robo-Wall gets started. So SOS playing very conservatively, and that means that he really doesn't want to take any economic damage from this pressure. Now, if you're playing very greedy, you can get away with maybe having a big probe pull, or maybe even losing a couple of workers, but if you play conservatively like this, you gotta anchor the defense. 4 Stalkers, Stutter stepping forward, will be able to usher away this medevac, so far, so good here for Protoss.
Yeah, nothing taken in terms of damage here for SOS. Might even chase this down. Does he have the read perfectly? Just unfortunately goes back just in time. But the medevac boost coming on cooldown as well, so likely would not have lost it. We'll just use these Widow Mines for some forward vision for now, so that way he knows where everything is coming from. Maybe even luckily kill a hallucination scout or something. And it's going to be a fast tech back into Colossus for SOS. He's not going to sit on much of gateway units for too long. He's not going to go straight straight into Storm, which was so popular in the last few months or so. It's going to be right into the Colossus, and we'll see if he's able to find the defense, which likely will be coming from a tank push or something like that from Ryung in the future.
Yeah, after the recent series of patches that we've had coming in from Blizzard, does SOS do you spot this? No, you do not. So that is one Stalker going down. Trade here for one Widow Mine. But going back to the point that I was making, we as you said, saw Storm utilized very heavily in PBT. It was just the de facto opening in this matchup for many, many months. Protoss players absolutely figured it out. But ever since we had a little bit of a rework come in from Blizzard, it seems like the Protoss Pro community is kind of split in terms of what is optimal to play now in PBT. And there are two schools of thought. One of them we saw earlier, MaxPax was able to deploy in his PBTs. Would go for still the very fast Storm and just kind of hedge his bets with the spellcasting approach, whereas a lot of other Protoss players in this matchup are just going super Zealot heavy, Zealots, Stalkers, Colossus, and very aggro. And it seems like SOS is falling into that latter category. Is Ryung with the double drop right now, one in the main base, one over here at the third, able to get a lot of lost mining time.
Yeah, 2 probes. It might even be more if SOS is not paying attention. Thankfully, he is. Won't lose a massive amount of them. Blinks forward to kill that off as well. So only 2 probes down, but a good amount of mining lost, like you mentioned. Will still make it a little bit awkward, so not the most insane drop or harassment, but still something to just kind of force SOS off his groove just a little bit as we now set up for a forward attack. Thankfully, that Raven also is there, so the Observer will get killed off, which means that Ryung could potentially go for this very nice double drop towards the left-hand side without vision coming in from SOS.
Now, I was wondering if we're going to see a Warp Prism or a Colossus as the next unit out of the row, because a lot of players have been leveraging this Colossus for early pressure on the third base of Terran, as SOS he is roaming here in the center of the map, but I think this is more of just him taking presence. He doesn't have the Warp Prism follow-up for that early warp in point, because I don't think so. He's pushing quite far, though, Gemini. I'm surprised by this.
Yeah, he's going pretty far, and it's right when this double drop is happening as well. So he's going to need to recall if he wants to defend against this. 2 drops of worth of bio is not going to be defensible with just a few warp-ins of gateways, but he's just going to send it with his army, almost going right into the main base, it looks like. He might even just try to force field the ramp and kill off the production. Going for a full base trade is not what I was expecting from SOS, but honestly, that goes right to his style. Make chaos, make it scrappy, and he's going to try to go in for this, but I mean, he's getting stuck in the back of the net. I don't think this is the right play.
Oh, both Colossi get taken down. A ton of the Stalkers also, they're stuck between the jugs. Oh no! The goblets! The goblets!
The goblets!
The goblets of doom!
No.
So many Stalkers get taken down after they blink into the low ground, and now Ryung just has a massive army supply lead. We were talking about how we didn't think SOS would go for the deep push because he didn't have a Warp Prism follow-up to reinforce, but he committed anyway, and Ryung absolutely made him pay for it. Twice as cost-efficient up until this point, army-wise. Gotten some good economic damage done too, or at least economic to mining time lost on SOS's side, and with just one Colossus and that being your main AoE damage, I'm not sure if SOS is going to be able to hold on against his next push unless he has a dream engagement.
Yeah, this is going to be really hard. There's ghosts coming out behind this as well from Ryung, so he's fully setting himself up for the later stages of the game. Nice Widow Mine defense from SOS as well, but this army is the problem. It's so massive. He's got a singular Colossus, like we said, and it's going to get hit as well with the armor shred. Going to make it even more easy for these Vikings to kill it off. The Zealots trying to get onto the bio, but an easy stutter step back from Ryung. He is eclipsing SOS in supply at this point, and the last Colossus will fall. This is looking terrible for SOS.
Yeah, the bio stems forward. Another pylon gets taken down, denying the big warp in, and GG is called by SOS. Ryung with a commanding game number 1. He's going to be leading this series 1-0, and for SOS, a little bit of a head scratcher with some of the moves made there. I like the arch of the build quite well, but the execution, mechanically it made sense, but strategically it was kind of wonky.
Yeah, it was not exactly the best play, I think, to try and go all in there with the attack in the natural. Sure, he didn't recall at all in the game,
No.
I feel like. He definitely had it off cooldown. There was enough energy in the main base as well. Maybe he was just afraid that if he recalled right there, all the bio would just jump on the Colossi and snipe them immediately anyway, which sometimes does happen, but I feel like that was still going to be the better play than just kind of sending it to the net. Or even if he'd... like what I was saying, where maybe he just goes straight into the main and just tries to force field the ramp, so that way it's harder for him to get up. Maybe that would have led him to be a little bit more successful there. But yeah, no, not the play to go sending it there. Apparently, it really all came apart right there.
Maybe it would have looked a little bit better if Ryung hadn't gone for the double medevac drop exactly at that time.
Yeah,
but
no,
that
was
just
also
makes the decision not to recall even more interesting, right? And
Yeah.
I think SOS taught me in that game number 1 not to predict anything that he's going to do
No.
from here on out. It's kind of nice in a way because SOS, I feel like up until this point, he's been on the road coming back into StarCraft II. He had a pretty long hiatus from the game. He's been practicing and trying to play in GSL qualifiers and playing in the RSL. He was playing a lot of macro. He kind of lost the edge of the cheeky, cheesy builds and the unique tactics that he used to do. And even though it's not really working out for him so far today, with a loss versus Reynor, now going 0-1 down versus Ryung, I honestly think this is kind of promising here for SOS. If he can continue to workshop these very unique approaches and unorthodox ways of handling different situations, eventually it's going to get on the level. I mean, we've seen SOS literally do this to world championship caliber play. Right? So I think it's exciting. I think this is him. Even though if SOS plays a straight-up macro game and does everything the exact by-the-book way of doing it, he's probably going to win a couple more games. I think that this is playing more to his strengths. It's just going to take time for us to really see the fruits of that labor.
It's also more interesting. I don't think.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think any of us want to watch an SOS game and then see the most simple standard build you ever seen. That is not what I sign up for.
Yeah.
When I'm watching an SOS game, I want to see crazy builds. I want to see the mothership rushes like we saw earlier. We want to see weird, wonky, all-in timings and everything. That's what we want SOS for. We got plenty of stock standard Protoss players nowadays, so let's get some interesting stuff. I love that. That was actually so cool. He has the probe sitting there waiting for him to see if an eBay block will come, and then he's got this super fast Nexus. That was at 18 supply. You never see a Nexus at that time, but to preemptively block, or reactively block, I should say, the eBay from getting thrown down, that was actually pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people go for the Nexus before Core. That's starting to kind of trend in PvT a little bit, but that timing where it denies the eBay block is honestly so cool because for Ryung, that's a lot of lost mining time. That's your SCVs in the early game here is Terran. They're building a lot of structures. You got to morph in your orbital. You don't have that many workers that are actually mining, so now this one SCV, move all the way cross map to try and throw it out of eBay, and then just hightail it all the way back home with minimal scouting information. It doesn't feel very good here for Ryung.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't normally see that ever. He's going to go into an Adept afterwards as well. We'll see what his tech is going to be. It's likely going to be that Twilight, so it's not going to be anything super crazy. But the Adept will be coming out to do the scouting instead of the Sentry like it was last time. Going for a double Adept as well could mean that he might try to be a little bit more aggressive with it as well. Might try to send them both over. Reaper kind of doing some jumping and jiving all over the place, but we'll just kind of keep this Adept home for a little bit. Oh my god, the long jump champion Reaper, just the world record for the longest Reaper jump. Jesus, that was crazy.
Yeah, I think upending the record that it just set by jumping over these trees. I didn't even know you could jump in that corner
yeah,
here
those
on
are
this
just a
map.
bunch of trees. Jesus. I want to see him do that again.
I don't think I've ever seen... Those are two of the most ridiculous jumps I believe I have ever seen a Reaper do.
That was so funny. Oh my goodness.
All right, first Adept moving cross map right now, going to be gathering some scouting information here for SOS as it's now reaching the natural expansion. Unfortunately, it is met by 2 Marines and a Hellion, so it's going to shade away as quickly as possible. Might try and get 1 Marine or 1 SCV. Looks like he's going to go for the Marine, but oh, be careful. If you don't stutter step like that, it will get taken down, and indeed it does, as the Reaper also is going to be escaping with 3 HP. So a little bit painful here, these early exchanges, and you can see SOS kind of adjusting his position in the chair with that. It's a frustrating moment.
Yeah, that is a bit unfortunate. He wasn't quite paying perfectly attention to it, so doesn't stutter step forward enough to get the last shot or anything, so... yeah, could have come all the way with a little bit more there, but unfortunately loses that Adept on the other side and then doesn't quite catch the Reaper, which could mean that the Reaper comes in a little bit later, maybe distracts him for half a second while a Widowmine drop or a Hellion comes in or something. So it is always nice when you can kill that off really early as the Reaper continues to just jump over everything on the map. What is it with these ledges on this map? It looks so wonky. But a fast third base going to be coming in for SOS. Very normal looking. Not going to be doing anything crazy just yet this game. So it seems like his PvT just kind of is about as standard as you can expect from SOS compared to his PvZ at least.
Yeah, well, PBT, it feels like among all of the Protoss matchups, is the one where it's the most cookie cutter.
True.
Is the most optimal way of playing, right? So it does make a little bit of sense here for SOS be going for one of your more vanilla openings, as the 3 Stalkers are going to catch the Reaper there in the center of the map, but unfortunately means they are not in position to deal with this Widow Mine, and Ryung is so annoying with a burrow and unburrow micro. These are the 2 full mineral lines not mining right now for SOS. That mineral income at the bottom of the screen dipping down to 223 minerals per minute to the 2K plus for Ryung, as SOS is now going to have to resaturate these bases and try and double up those probes again on the mineral patches.
That is so obnoxious. Like, it doesn't, it looks so bad when you come look at it from the Terran. You're like, oh, well, he only killed 2 probes.
No,
like,
it's amazing.
Look at that spike, dude. It's, like, actually crazy. Like, I've said this a couple times, but I'll say it again. It actually does mess with your build. Like, your income just tanks out of nowhere when you don't really expect it, and it is really obnoxious to deal with. He's still going to be up 52 to 44 probes, though, so it's still going to be a pretty good economic situation for him. It's not game-ending, but it is annoying. We've got a couple Stalkers moving across the map with a hallucination to try and get into the main base here. We'll see if he's going to find any damage, but well-positioned tank and Marines coming out from Ryung means this is going to be a bit of a brick wall for SOS.
Yeah, not really an angle to find right there, as Ryung has excellent SimCity in the main base. He will be broaching the natural expansion with a Raven this time. We'll see if he pairs that in with the Widow Mine drop either at the 3rd or the main base here of SOS, as Ryung getting closer and closer. No shield battery, so these auto turrets will be taking down the probes very quickly. Actually going to ambitiously put this one forward right where the probes are pulled. So another one getting taken down. And the Hellion actually going into the 3rd base. Widow Mine still just standing pat over here, right between the main and the 3rd.
Yeah, it's really nice from Ryung, honestly, not to even pull the trigger on that, because it's forcing SOS to leave attention, not only, leaving units and also attention over on that side of the map. He's expecting, oh yeah, you're doing this drop over here, this harassment here, you're going to go in with the Widow Mine at the same time, surely. So you're kind of accounting for that, but then he just doesn't do anything. He just lets it sit there, and so now you have to always continue to keep thinking about it, and so it might come back a little bit later. So honestly, I kind of like that from Ryung, and it was able to get some decent damage over on the net. But for now, it's still going to be a pretty solid, even game from both of them. It's not like there's any crazy advantage for either side just yet. Just little pokes and prods here and there. SOS trying to get a Marine, a Marauder or 2 as the push-out starts to happen. And Ryung is going to see what kind of leverage he can get in the middle of the map here.
I like this quite a bit for SOS, though. If Ryung starts to get confident, moves across the map, this can play into SOS's hand, because SOS right now is going for an army-crushing approach. He's only on 3 gas geysers. At 720, he is just now throwing down the first tech to unlock splash damage. He's been pumping units out of these 8 gateways non-stop. Charge is done. Blink is done. SOS wants Ryung to attack into him so that he can collapse on the position. We see another big round of 8 Zealots getting warped in. But Ryung, he's not really taking the bait just yet. And this is one of the worst feelings here as a Protoss player, where you're playing this low gas style where you want to trade often with a Terran. If they just build up a critical mass of bio, then suddenly, as we all know, the Zealots, they're never really going to get very much done unless you get a beautiful surround.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate when you're just kind of funneling everything into just hoping to take engages, and then they just never take them. And then you're just stuck with a terrible army because you don't have any tech out quick enough. Stalker's getting caught in the middle of the map as well. It's going to be really awkward. You can see just how many Zealots there are. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, and Ryung immediately retreats. This is the smart decision to make, because the army of SOS, it does not scale very well. It's 26 Zealots, and it was about a dozen Stalkers. He was hoping that Ryung would push across the map and try and either clobber the 3rd base or deny the 4th base, and then he can attack in from a couple of different positions. The Stalkers, they blink forward, they take down the medevacs, the Zealots chase down everything on the ground. SOS sends us to a game number 3, but Ryung, he's playing a little bit too smart for that. He's putting the Widow Mines in a defensive position. Down to the 3rd base, he's getting a sensor tower, he's adding in a bunker. He's just playing the slow game, and this is what you do. By the way, are those Zealots hitting the rocks from the high ground?
Is that what's happening?
Look at that!
Wait, what?
What is going on? This map is crazy.
You got Reapers jumping over trees. You got Zealots attacking rocks.
Even the Stalkers, it feels like they have wild range on this.
What is going on here? What am I even looking at? I wonder if SOS even realized that before he even tried. Like, did he know that they could attack from that position? Or
There's something a little bit crazy about the ledges here on Botanical.
Very interesting.
It's fun, at least.
Yeah. Just before that, actually, Ryung target fired the lone sentry with that Widow Mine in the middle. I thought that was actually very cute. We do have the Zealots running into the natural at the same time as the army positions over at the third. Massive armor shred over the majority of the units on the left-hand side means that SOS is being pushed back in both directions. No damage being found. He's trying to find some sort of window with this super brawly style, but just can't find anything.
And the worst thing is, SOS is now maxed, and the army that SOS has on the board is so unrefined. It is about as basic as it gets. We have a couple Colossus mixed in. Almost one Colossus gets taken out right there. It's basically just 42 Zealots, and Ryung is nearing max. He's soon going to have the 2-2 upgrades coming in. He's building a very defensive positioning, even with a command center, anchoring the position here, just creating a bottleneck for those Widow Mines. As SOS, you don't really have an angle of attack, but you're maxed on Zealots. You kind of feel like you need to, and so he's going to charge in anyway. The Widow Mine's getting huge damage done on those Zealots in the front line. Another armor shredding missile adding insult to injury as SOS's army supply just absolutely dips. And Ryung, I think, lost basically nothing in that engagement. Now for SOS, he is freeing up a little bit of supply, but with only one Robo, he's not adding much more. And yeah, look at this. 5 Marines and 1 Raven for 23 Zealots. A Marine?
What the heck?
Colossus?
What the heck happened there? Okay.
I have no idea.
Everything's going weird this map. But that was probably one of the worst fights that you could take as SOS. Ryung with just an absolute god fight right there at the low ground. All the Widow Mines prepped, everything in position. The army composition is just really not it right now for SOS. He's trying to find anything he can, and he's trying to split up his armies here to just find these windows, but the resources lost tab is absolutely ridiculous. The 1-1 is already been finished for a while. 2-2 is going to be coming up soon. There is going to be a 3-1 upgrade lead for SOS at the point soon here, but he's not even really able to find much because the units are just so well positioned. Ryung is going to try to come in and save this 4th base right now, and he's going to have an easy time doing so, I feel like. The army is huge, but there's only 2 Colossi.
Some pretty good micro from SOS, though. He's able to shave down the Viking count. It falls to 5. 2 Colossus still standing strong. A Zealot run by, actually, with no bio support. Able to get some damage on those siege tanks. Force an unsiege. They clean it up, and then we are right back to the action over here at the 12 o'clock. That EMP getting every single Stalker just about. Only a couple have their shields remaining. So that's going to mitigate the potential here for SOS to use these blink tactics to try and shave down the SCV, or not SCV count, excuse me, the Viking count even further. And look at that, blink DTs coming in.
Oh, blink DT and disruptors.
Yeah, these haven't been cost-efficient trades for SOS, but they honestly were kind of necessary because his army composition before this was 40+ Zealots and basically no tech units whatsoever. And since that kind of tragic engagement between the natural and the 3rd base of Ryung, where SOS just lost an arm and a leg and Ryung lost basically nothing, SOS has been able to use his economic power to shift the army composition into something a little bit more capable. He's adding disruptors now into the mix, his upgrades are catching up, and he's also adding in blink DTs, which might be able to get a lot done.
Oh, that was another tragic engagement from SOS, not even realizing that the army was there and just all of the Zealots bleeding up in there. Colossus as well. This is gonna get really difficult for SOS if he continues taking fights like that. He needs to be paying attention to where his army is and where the opponent is. Disruptor is gonna try to shoot out onto the army, but just completely dodged. They were too far back. The next one will be able to connect towards the back line, but it's only hitting some Ghosts and Marauders. They're not hitting any juicy targets just yet. And now Ryung's gonna try to chase this down, but into a bunch of Zealots. He's gonna feel totally fine in this position. The upgrades still being pretty decent for him means he can actually take this toe-to-toe.
Yeah, more upgrades now coming online here for Ryung as SOS. He's pivoting into the Stargate, so we might have a mothership added in. Potentially even Tempest could be quite useful against this composition with the planetaries in such a forward spot. A couple more disruption balls getting avoided here, but unfortunately that siege tank not quite so nimble.
Tank. You said tank, and I made me think of that. CC gets killed. Oh my god, yeah, so CC down will mean that one less base potential for Ryung, but he's honestly feeling pretty good with the amount of bases he's already got set up. I do like that SOS is really trying to shard back and forth here between these 2 bases to try and find any damage, and he will be able to target down this PF finally, so it's some more damage getting done from SOS is definitely helping his position here as he continues to build up this disruptor count to make it much more difficult for Ryung to take these engages. Ever since he put those into his army comp, he's been much better at actually leveraging these fights and forcing the bio back and making it much more difficult for Ryung to actually find the right fights.
Yeah, SOS has pivoted very well from this brawl style into having a little bit more finesse with these units. The disruptors absolutely paying off as SOS just continues to expand along the bottom line. Already going down to that bottom left expansion, denying this command center yet again. Somehow that was getting built on site, I think, which is an ambitious move coming in from Ryung.
Wow, that's a lot of Liberators just sitting up there. It's really difficult to actually push on into. One of them also getting sent towards the bottom of the map will be able to kill off a few of the probes, even with that lesser vision range from the recent patch. So we'll be able to still get some good damage done. Another CC looking like it might get targeted as the Disruptors force them away, but the Liberators coming to save the day will force this army back for now. Not quite sure what those Stalkers want to do. They're not going to kill that Liberator from that far away. Will get shooed away, but it's actually getting quite difficult now for Ryung to secure a 5th base. He keeps getting pushed back from this forward position. SOS is doing a great job of really forcing this back into this awkward situation. Unfortunately, losing a couple units here and there, but this is going to get really awkward for Ryung if he can't actually get a 5th set up.
Yeah, and I think the Liberators are probably the ace up Ryung's sleeve in terms of securing one of these expansions, because unless we get some kind of Tempest out or something else, or I guess these Blink Stalkers with a really nice angle are able to get some damage done, it's going to be hard for SOS to dislodge Ryung from this defensive position that he's got with 5 bases.
Yeah, a couple of Marauders are going to be a little annoying over on the left-hand side before some Warpins get in, but I mean, I'm honestly impressed by how much SOS has been able to salvage this position, just considering it looked like he was going to get outscaled so quickly earlier on in the game. He's really turned this around and made it something that he's actually controlling the tempo of and really dictating the pace of what is possible here in this late game. Again, forcing another CC to lift while the rest of the army on the left-hand side pushes in to try and deny this and also maybe even get a favorable engagement on some of the bio that's just kind of sitting here. Some SCVs also going to get killed off by the Disruptors. Very nicely done, limiting this economy continually from Ryung.
Yeah, SOS is almost playing this like a Zerg versus Terran right now. He has been so cost inefficient, but he's just denying Ryung from taking a 5th base, or at least until this point, he's been successful in doing that, as Ryung now has finally anchored that center expansion, while simultaneously, SOS is expanding all over the map. He's up to 80 workers, he's trying to trade a lot. Ryung now pushing in, Liberators not sieging up just yet. Instead, it almost looked like they're going for the Colossus, as these Marauders able to charge forward, take down all of these key Disruptors. The Liberators actually using their anti-air attack to take out the Colossus. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, that was a great fight from Ryung. Really just grasped the moment right there and is full sending it over on the left-hand side. SOS trying to find something on the right, but that PF is going to get surrounded by the SCV repair. You cannot engage onto that. Rightfully running away, but now he's going to sack his bases over on the left-hand side. This army from Ryung is looking massive at a whole 144 supply. He's lost a lot of SCVs, but that just means the army starts to get massively larger over time, and SOS sitting on 80 probes. He's not really going to have an army that is quite as large.
He's got a lot of Stalkers and a lot of Zealots, but there isn't very much in terms of these high-tech units. 2 Colossi only. SOS is going to try and converge on this bottom left position. If he can get a flank with Stalkers and Zealots on those Liberators, it might help a lot. There is a nuke being called down right now. SOS, does he see the dot? I think he does. That
if he doesn't see that one, I would be really
that Ghost
really
actually
for him.
Dangerously close to the nuke. I think he actually cancels it. That Ghost might have gotten taken down by its own nuke if it wasn't careful.
That's one way to go out, I guess.
Call down a nuke on yourself.
That would be crazy. We are going to be able to force our way forward as Ryung into this extra base as well, but SOS is going for a massive counterattack over on the left-hand side. A flank going for these Liberators. Will be able to blink right on under them as they're not actually in the right position, so that's actually a great opportunity for SOS. He's going to force the lift on all of these medevacs, even sniping plenty of them with so many units in them. Ryung, honestly, overstepping his bounds, I feel like, will only really get away with a few cloaked ghosts and the air units. That was a massive overextension.
Honestly, I liked the push in there from Ryung. It's just that he didn't anticipate the flanking angle. If SOS tried to defend from where the 6 o'clock base is, the way that Ryung expected, I think Ryung actually holds on there. In that case, I don't see it as an overextension, but SOS just moving around with basically everything None of those Liberators were added into the equation. They were all picked off before they produced any value. That's SOS cleaning up a very critical army, but he did lose 2 Nexus to make it happen. So his income, it's not quite what it once was. And Ryung, he secured 5 bases, and he's also taking a 6th in the top right.
Yeah, this is going to get really difficult now for SOS. He was able to dislodge these bases earlier when he had a larger army and he was kind of holding the tempo. But now behind this, there's still a good amount of Liberators, and those 5th bases were set up that you can just park all those Liberators on those really small ramps, and it's going to be really hard to actually walk up in there. So now Ryung has finally got some sort of leverage on his side of the map. This DT will be able to deny the right-hand side base for now. He will have to send some units there. The army size so far still, though, for SOS is still quite good. So he's still going to be able to actually engage with the army once it actually makes its way across. But when is Ryung going to push across the map again is going to be the question. Looks like he might just take this fight as the Disruptors are not here. The Zealots are going to try to make havoc on the left, but there's really nothing to attack there. He can just lift the orbitals as well. The main fight in the middle is going Ryung's favor.
Yeah, and SOS's gas count, it is dismally low right now. He hasn't really saturated a lot of these gas geysers. Look in the bottom left, he's only just now, I think, taking some of those assimilators all the way to 3 o'clock. He hasn't taken those assimilators just yet, and so he's got 5,000 minerals in the bank and basically no gas. That's going to translate into a lot of Zealots, which is good against the Marauder-heavy composition here for Ryung. But it's a little bit concerning because Ryung, I don't think he's going to make the same mistake that he did a couple of minutes ago. I think he's going to be very careful with these next couple of engagements and respect the potential of SOS to go for these surrounds and these flanks. And if Ryung is able to navigate the map well, those Zealots are not going to get the damage they need done for SOS to be able to maintain these expansions.
Yeah, here we go. Forward, pushing with the Liberators, slowly but surely. He's not even sending anything to that 1 DT. Can't actually take that base. It's a very worthwhile DT to have up there. Can the Mothership turn the tide? Cloak being used, scan already as well, and the Time Warp actually kind of hitting a little bit forward. Doesn't actually affect the bio, but there's still so many Zealots in this fight. Is this actually going to force Ryung away? It looks like it is. Again, a lift and running back home as the rest of the units for Ryung are either defending or coming out of the rally. So SOS yet again taking another fight.
That was an unbelievable win. I actually cannot understand those Zealots cleaning up all of that bio, Gemini. That blew my mind. These are like Legacy of the Void campaign Zealots. The way they were able to get in there and just chop up every single bio unit. I guess SOS got the engagement that he needed with that 5,000 mineral bank. 188 Zealots have fallen so far in this game. Ryung has been so cost efficient, but SOS is continuing just try and barrel him down with raw power. Unfortunately, a little bit of an overextension right here for SOS. That Mothership will fall to the Vikings. Stalkers are able to pick off a couple of Vikings to go tit for tat, but oh man, I think the game might quiet down. And look at the units lost tab. It is plus 14,000 resources in the advantage of Ryung, but it's SOS who is taking his entire side of the map.
Yeah, that's a crazy resources lost tab right there. SOS really just funneling everything here. He loses the Mothership and a bunch of other units, and he just instantly warps in 14 more Zealots. It is just full on to the ground for SOS. He's trying to just take these ridiculously scrappy engagements. And they've been working out fairly well for him, all things considered. I'm honestly surprised that he's able to, honestly, stay in this game at this point. He's going to be able to try and take this left-hand position, but Ryung is meeting him there as the Zealots on the right also do get pushed back for now. It's going to get continually more difficult for SOS to take these fights, but I keep saying that, but he's still finding these moments to really just catch Ryung off guard, so I'm not going to count him out at any point in this game. It feels like he really is just embodying this style and just really making it his own.
Yeah, right now SOS is Gateway Man. Like, he's Zealots and Stalkers. We have a Colossus mixed in here and there. There were some Disruptors in the early game, but no, it's these 15 Gateways that are powering everything right now here for SOS. And what I would love to see Ryung mix in a little bit more is Widow Mines with his composition. I feel like that would go a long way. We actually see them slowly getting trickled out right now on the production tab. That one Widow Mine was able to take out, I think, one Zealot there on the left side. But I'm imagining another engagement like that one where SOS tries to charge in and take the fight head on versus Ryung. If Ryung is kiting Mac and we get 5 or 6 Widow Mine shots on the bunch of what, 40 plus Zealots that SOS keeps charging in with, I really see that fight going in Ryung's way. I actually wouldn't even mind him throwing down the second factory with a reactor or something at this stage.
Yeah, combine that with a bunch of EMPs, and it's just like the Zealots just melt, man. It's actually crazy. One more Widow Mine will soften these up over on the right-hand side, but the PF is still here as well. The army trying to lurk around on the left will meet the majority of Ryung's army over there as well, as he's really just kind of keeping his main army on the left-hand side. Both players don't really seem to be able to find any big engagements so far, as SOS continues to try and find anything on these bases, but there's just so many planetaries absolutely everywhere for Ryung. It's so difficult to actually find anything. I wonder if he should start using these Stargates as SOS to get into the more later game Carrier or Tempest angle to be able to break some of these defensive positions from Ryung, because it's really looking much more difficult for him to break.
I think that's probably going to be the transition after the next engagement. He is maxed right now, so he can't start any of those Stargate units just yet, but he has taken 2 more gases in the bottom left side of the map. He now has a 700 gas bank, and 2 more Stargates get thrown down. So with +1 air weapons nearing completion, he has the capacity to train 4 Stargate units in the Remax after this next fight.
Right, going up once again into the space. We'll be able to target it down. Ryung not quite paying attention of that one, but does come in with his army from the backside. Luckily, SOS is actually reacting in time, so it doesn't get jumped on too heavily right there. But a couple more units over on the right will be able to annoy this gold base just a little bit, but not enough to actually kill it off. 12 SCVs were killed in the engagement just before, and SOS trying to go in yet again. Lots of EMPs over all of the Stalkers. The 2 Colossi are going to get targeted by the Vikings, but don't actually get killed off just yet, as DTs also try to disrupt on the right-hand side. SOS taking some pretty decent engagement, but the army size from Ryung continues to grow.
The army size is growing, but we don't have a lot of gas or minerals. I guess we do have gas, but not minerals in the bank here for Ryung. And he isn't maxed just yet. So unless he can fully secure one of these 5th bases, SOS might just be able to completely drown him out. We have another engagement coming in. This command center gets low on HP, into the yellow, not the red. It will be able to escape, as it looks like this nuke will take down. Oh, the probes? No, they are not evacuating.
Unfortunately, only 5. So if it was, if it was a good 10 or
he just
20,
queues up 7 more like a Zerg.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
That's honestly sick. He's got a lot of idle ones over there on the gases as well. Could always do that. Actually, yeah, honestly, he needs to take some of these other gases, because he's actually only getting like 500 to 600 gas per minute right now, it looks like.
It's not even like he's lost assimilators. This has just been his approach the entire game.
But he's going to be getting a bunch of carriers now, too, so he really should be taking some of these extra gases. He needs to set this up for the late game. A blink forward will be able to dislodge some of these Liberators, so a nice move there, but forced back by the rest of the army. It's going to be now up to the carrier transition to really bust these positions, because it's going to be really difficult with all of this massive gateway army setting up for SOS here. Ryung is also going to try to set up some of these extra bases, but with how much SOS is lurking around, it's going to be really hard to do that too. So yeah, this is going to be really interesting how this late game starts to develop from both these players.
Oh, SOS trying to pick up another Viking. He does get it. Another nuke is going to land. This time 19 probes, so SOS will be able to pull it out. All right, those probes able to escape. Actually, the Zealot's just waiting. Oh, it runs out of energy. The Ghost does get taken out right after the nuke falls over there on the right side. Gold base now getting resaturated by SOS as he's looking to potentially catch this army in the middle. And SOS, or Ryung, I should say, up until this point, has been so cost efficient, but being able to expand past 5 bases has basically been impossible for him. This is the first time that he's really been mining from 6 bases for an extended period, I think. It's been a challenge here for Ryung.
Yeah, you can see how many bases are even mined out. Look at that top one, also barely got anything left. Zealot Warpin barely in time to be able to deny this the drop, so that's very nice. But plenty of defensive setup as well over here. I mean, you don't even really need to destroy that base. There's like nothing left anymore up there either. One Liberator will just set up for later over there, and a Ghost getting picked off randomly. That's actually a nice play. That looked like it was probably going to go send a nuke off somewhere, so that's a nice little thing to check off for now. As SOS continues to try and push up over on the left-hand side, all the carriers now in the main fight. Massive EMP on top of the rest of the units, though, will mean that Ryung can give chase, as there's really nothing underneath these carriers. There's very few units. The rest of the Zealots need to get warped in desperately to be able to defend this position. But the Vikings, honestly, killing these carriers very quickly. SOS's army is evaporating before our very eyes.
Oh, it's going to take a couple rounds of Warpins to be able to remax here for SOS, as maybe that carrier transition was not what the Doctor ordered. He does have +2 air weapons, but this Bio Army is so well upgraded. We also have +3 vehicle armor here for Ryung. as there wasn't very much follow through, and now that lack of gas, it might come back to bite SOS. He has 3,700 minerals in the bank
insane.
and basically no gas. Now that is because he just invested a lot of it in a remaxing on carriers. I think we have 3 or 4 that are just finishing production right now, but I'm not sure if this is going to be enough because the standing army for Ryung is 147 army supply. His worker count is very low. Finally, now it is SOS on the back foot, so Ryung can at last secure some planetaries at these exterior bases. And at the same time, he can levy a lot of pressure. We're about to have another engagement here in the middle of the map. The carriers are trying to focus it down. We can see how much time it takes for them to chew through the armor of these Vikings. I think Ryung has finally been able to break through. SOS been playing the Macho Man style, but Ryung, with a supremely teched army, at last is able to get the engagement that he needs. And that's going to be him going into the final match of Group D.
That was a banger of a game. That was absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe that SOS actually was able to stay in it that long, considering the fact that the way he opened just totally fell flat. But then Ryung also just weathering the storm for forever. Once SOS actually got the tempo, he was able to keep it up, but Ryung just didn't die. He could not actually let off the pedal there, was able to outlast SOS towards the end. I mean, those EMPs in the end game fight as well were absolutely clinical there for him to able just totally snowball the rest of it. Honestly, incredible play from Ryung.
Yeah, that was just an awesome PBT. I think that might be my favorite game so far this season. It was so much fun. I really had written SOS off after he had to attack in because he's maxed with 42 plus zealots and he kills like 5 Marines or something total, maybe a siege tank.
Yeah.
And then somehow he's just able to absorb his entire side of the map. He maintains this extreme gateway count. And Ryung is like trying to survive in like one of the last missions of Wings of Liberty with just endless swarms of zealots, of stalkers, even Colossi and Disruptors getting added into the mix. Oh man, talk about perseverance. Ryung is going to survive to face Reynor in the final match of Group D. The winner is going to go on into the playoffs. The loser will be out of the RSL. Unfortunately for SOS, his story in the RSL in 2025, it is going to end here unless he plays in the LCQ at the end of the year. But man, it might have been an 0-4 map score, but these were some really entertaining games from SOS.
Yeah, it was very cool to see him, but like he said, we might see him in that LCQ later on in the year, which will be happening next month. So if you guys are listening, if you are a pro player that played in the qualifiers or the main event and are not into the actual grand finals themselves, go ahead, sign up for the LCQ. It is ending on the November 21st, so please sign up before that, so that way we can accommodate everything, make sure we know exactly how many players are going to be signed up and all that stuff. So yeah, if you're able to actually come to our event on December 13th, you are free to sign up for that, and it's going to be super cool to see everyone here for our offline finals.
Oh, it's so much fun. I'm looking forward to it. Go to, tastelessthreads.com to pick off the tickets. I believe that is the link. If it isn't, I'm sure somebody in the chat is going to correct me or somebody in the YouTube comments. Anyway, folks, we're going to take a short break. When we get back, the final match here in Group D of the RSL, Reynor versus Ryung. You do not want to miss it.
On the couch, and we're all... Welcome back to the final series of the day. It's going to be a TVZ to round everything out. Reynor versus Ryung to find our final player to make it into the playoffs. We've got a lot of Protoss. We've got finally a Terran and Maru. We got a Zerg in there as well. I believe Shin is in there, and now we're going to get one more Terran or one more Zerg to meet.
That is music to my ears, Gemini. Can't wait to see who it is going to be. Reynor had one chance already to get out of this group. He's going to have another one here in the last game of the day. Ryung looking really strong in that last series. Looks like he's warmed up. Looks like he's playing well.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed that he was able to actually pull that last game out. It really looked like SOS was having him by the ropes there for a little bit. But we were just kind of talking as well just on the break there. It's like that carrier transition, man, just really fell flat on its face. It really just felt like the army was just a total dead weight. There was just so much supply and really no DPS output. Just gets absolutely flattened. A bit of an unfortunate circumstance there for SOS in the end.
Yeah, he looks like he had a really good position of points. I actually thought he was going to win the game a couple times, but it didn't work out for him. And one thing to say for Ryung is, after you play a game like that, I think it was 30 or so minutes, like a very long game, that's exhausting.
Yeah,
like to play at the pro level, for so long and then to instantly go into another set may have some kind of impact here.
It's true, yeah. Reynor's coming off of a nice little break. He's able to sit back, relax, just kind of watch the games, just do whatever he wants. So maybe get a snack, whatever. So it's going to be probably better for him overall in the overall state. I mean, it could also maybe be that Ryung kind of just stays locked in when this happens.
Yeah.
This happens sometimes for me too, where it's like if I take a break in between games, that sometimes actually doesn't help me, because then I kind of get like, I get out of it a little bit. I'm not actually like fully focused anymore. Whereas if you're just kind of winning or just doing really well for so long, sometimes it's better just to stay in that state of just like the flow state of, just killing everyone. I don't know.
Keep your hands hot.
yeah. You just get the games going. Just keep it on. Just like Ryung's like, all right, doesn't matter. I didn't hear no bell. Keep it going. Get the next one going here. Give me Reynor. I'll take them all. So yeah, here we go. Reynor versus Ryung. Hopefully we get some nice banger games.
Yeah, indeed. Reynor looking locked in here, man. Look at
wow.
this Darth Reynor setup
Yeah,
we got
seriously.
going on. Channeling that Sith energy. You love to see it. Let's just take a quick look at the maps, guys. Set 1 will be on Celestial Enclave. Set 2, Winter Madness. And if we need it, Tokamak will be there to round out the set.
Yeah, I'm very curious what Celestial is going to have here in this one, particularly since it is going to be a TVZ. I think it was Maru that did something a little cheeky earlier in the TVT where he went for that super fast third CC and then the mass bio play versus Ryung. So curious to see if any of the players try to go for anything cheeky there. Yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to see what we got. Reynor, obviously, I think is the overall favorite to make it out second here after, unfortunately, losing to Maru, but still did not look like he was, getting dumpstered or anything like that.
No, I thought he was actually playing well for the majority of the set. Just a few things didn't go his way, but I would also agree. I think he is the favorite here. We did see that not crazy, but we did see the 3-hatch before gas build, really economic build he played before in the Maru set. I don't know if he's going to do anything like that here. We'll have to wait and see. Always a possibility. Ryung, on the other hand, I haven't actually seen him play ZVT for a while. We do see the pool going down there before the gas. And yeah, basically we're looking at Ryung here to see what kind of style of TVZ he wants to bring out.
I wouldn't even be surprised if he maybe tries to throw in some mech. I feel like he's definitely someone that does like to screw around with that kind of stuff every now and then.
Screw around.
I mean, nowadays, without the cyclones being as, kind of bugged and good nowadays, it's maybe a little bit more difficult to get it to work. So maybe it's, not worth trying, but yeah, maybe you might screw around a little bit.
You might just screw around with some mech.
Try some cyclones
here and there. Be a jokester with some mech. You make it sound so bad. Yeah, okay. Anyway, on the side of Reynor, we know he likes these fast Ultralisk builds. Yeah, playing a lot of Lingbane into Ultra, that kind of thing. I think that plays to his strengths. Just, you have a lot of units when you play Lingbane, and he's so good at using these run-bys, as we see this little worker-only pathway here being used by Ryung to get into the main base. And, yeah, there's a drone coming out here. Was this going to take a base? Or is
it looked like it.
Yeah, it looked like, because it came out before the SCV got to the main, right? So, yeah, and he actually still hasn't taken a gas, so it is going to be 3 hatcheries before the gas here for Reynor. He will, of course, have Queens out in time to deal with the Reaper. So, yeah, similar build to what we saw against Maru. Will save the drone this time, though. Against Maru, he actually lost 2 drones, so this is already a better start for him.
Yeah, you never really want to lose those drones earlier on. There's no real reason to. If the micro is on point, you're able to always get the little block by morphing them into whatever you want. And wow, that is...
We're seeing a repeat of Reynor versus Maru. This is what Maru did. They both took this pocket base super early. And obviously went Maru's way in that game, but we'll have to see how it plays out here.
Yeah, it looks like Maru's doing a little bit of coaching for Ryung here, giving him some ideas to help him get out in the group as well. It would be pretty cool if it was also just the 2 Vitality boys getting on out together. Would be very interesting, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, they're always in the kitchen together. I feel like cooking up their stuff. They're always the 2 Terrans in the group. They've been always sharing ideas and whatnot. So I'm not too surprised to see him doing something that Maru was doing earlier today.
Well, I think he may have watched the games. He might have jumped on Discord or Kakao Talk or whatever and said, "Yo, Maru, can you send me that build real quick? That looks sick. Like, can I copy that real quick?" I mean, he probably knows it anyway, of course, being at Ryung's level. It's actually going to be a roach opener here this time for Reynor. which can be nice. You can go Roach Ling Bane. You can even transition back into Ling Bane. It all depends what upgrades you want to get and if you want to go for Hive or not. You can also hit these mid-game time-ins. So Reynor still has his options open, and we do see the one Evo chamber going down as well.
He didn't go for the roaches in the early series versus Maru. That's correct?
He did make some roaches.
I couldn't remember exactly.
He did make some roaches, and he did this cool thing where he went +1 missile and +1 melee. And then he went into melee upgrades and got ultras eventually. On the side of Ryung, we see Hellion Banshee with Cloak, pretty standard kind of follow-up to the Fast 3 CC. We'll have to see how many drones he can kill with those.
Yeah, it's always a question on if you actually want to suicide them or not. Just go for the full YOLO to kill as many drones as you want, basically. Or if you try to just be a bit more passive with them, just try and kill off as many creep tumors as you can, or just kind of threatening the chance that you might deep dive as well. But the Banshee's coming in with Cloak to follow it up as well. It does kind of lean more towards the more aggressive side, just to try and snowball as much damage as possible. So we'll see if he's able to actually get that or not. But the fast third base will be setting on up. You got those mules already mining as well, so plenty of eco coming in for Ryung as he goes into this mid-game situation. As Reynor. This is hard with their both the kind of Reynor, Ryung, kind of similar names. He's gonna actually have to defend these Hellions as they run right in.
Yeah, the Hellion's getting right all the way into the main. The Roach is too slow to actually chase him. He goes for the Evo wall block. He's going to make another one here. Beautiful lock-off. Traps these Hellions in there. 5 drones have gone down, but he will be able to clean these up eventually. And I'm not sure if Reynor actually knows that he has the pocket third base yet or not. He made the spores quite early. I think he made them just after 4:30. And against a 3cc build, no, he doesn't. So against a 3cc build, you can delay those spores a bit until like 4:50 or so. So that was kind of why I thought he didn't know about it, because he made them a little earlier. So eventually he does need to find out about that as we see the Banshees fly in.
Yeah, it looks like that Spore is in position over in that pocket base, so that's very nice. We'll be able to deny those at least. Honestly, the defense of the Hellions was also really excellent out of Reynor. The 2 Evo blocks were perfect to deny any extra movement behind the mineral line and allow the drones to escape. Does let one finish even, so that way he can continue with his upgrades, so honestly just helps out his build as well. So yeah, a great early start from Reynor, denying a lot of drone damage. Only, I believe it's like 6 in total or so that were actually killed off, so nothing super crazy in that regard. And now we're going to be going into the Infestor tech as well. I loved the amount of Infestors burrowing around in the mid game and the late game from Reynor earlier on in the series as well. Got some money fungals. It's got to be one of my favorite parts of late game TVZ, honestly. Watching those little sharking Infestors try to get the crazy fungals to set up the fights is very satisfying.
Yeah, if you land one of those fungals on a big pack of bio or even, ghosts, that's kind of the dream as the Zerg, and that's when you initiate your attack. Ryung will see the 4th base going up here for Reynor, just going to pick off a creep tumor. It's always nice to keep these Banshees alive, especially when you play against Roaches, because if the Zerg ever does decide to send it, you have basically this uncontested damage coming from the air as long as the Queens don't come. So nice of him to preserve those. You can use those to deal with run-bys and all kinds of things later. Ryung here going to send out 2 medevacs full of Marines and use these Banshees to take out the wall here.
Yeah, setting himself very nicely with this 4-base setup. It's going to be very easy to defend as you're just kind of sitting on top of these couple of little ramps. Makes it very nice for him. As did it just pause? What's happened here?
Yeah, the player cam's still moving, so it looks like there's a little pause in the game.
Reynor versus Ryung. There we go. Right back where we left off. Very nice. So yeah, let's try to get this 4th base set up from Ryung so we can get this macro game all started.
Yeah, thank you guys for your patience. We do see that Reynor's going into lurkers. As I was saying that, the difficulties happened, I'm not sure if it went through or not, but just to reiterate, it is going to be a lurker build here from Reynor. And once he gets up to a decent count, that's going to be very nice for him, be able to start sieging some bases. But this is a big old Marine tank push coming out.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty strong. It looks like he's got quite a large army from Ryung right here going across the map. Not too much creep spread also either on this side of the map, so a scan or 2 will be able to limit this and give himself a pretty nice high ground position here to work with. It's going to be pretty difficult, I feel like, to get a nice engage. You're going to have to split this army as Reynor to really get a nice surround on this. And you can see Ryung kind of anticipating this as well, leaving a good amount of units over on the top side as well to make sure that he doesn't just get flanked by any Lings or Banelings or anything. But it's going to be lurkers on the front to defend as some more Marines move over to the top side to try and force this fight.
Yeah, Reynor has some lurkers buried here, so he's somewhat prepared, but the Marines find a little blind spot on the left of this base, start chipping away. Reynor burrows another lurker there to cover that blind spot that he has, and the Vipers are coming out now. Once they get some energy, we could see some blinding clouds go down on the tanks. No abducts, unfortunately, as that no longer works for some reason, but yeah, the the blinding clouds will be available, and Reynor may have to pull the trigger before this base goes down. We'll have to see if he wants to commit to this.
It looks like now is the time. He's going to try to go on in before it gets killed off. Nice blinding clouds on some of those tanks. Massive bungle on some of the Marines on the right-hand side, and that's a huge win for Reynor as his army engulfs everything that Ryung's got.
The patience from Reynor, waiting until the very last moment there, until he had as many lurkers and Vipers with energy ready as possible, makes his push at exactly the right time and is able to completely wipe out that army. He is in such a good spot right now. He has his 5th base up and running in that top left corner. He's adding more Vipers. He's got his upgrades coming, and he's going to start moving out on the map here.
Yeah, that was a great play from Reynor. He's going to not quite be able to move on over towards this 4th base just yet as the planetary is set up. We've got some tanks there as well. So just going to have to take this advantage and move it on further on later into the game here from Reynor. A couple drops getting moved over to the right-hand side. Lots of spore crawlers lying in wait, though, so might not be the easiest drop to do from Ryung's POV, but likely will try to do it anyways in just a little bit once he finds the most opportune moment. Might wait for some of the army to actually be seen first on the other side of the map before he actually goes in to get the maximum value from it. I like that he's got these lurkers waiting over here on the left-hand side too, maybe catching some units just kind of walking around. Might have those on hold position as well.
Yeah, oftentimes the Terran will kind of push on the right side of the map and then send a squad down the left side to take out your base. If they're not in the medevacs, they may all die before Ryung is even able to notice, as those lurkers do huge DPS to low HP units like the Marine. We also see a Nidus network coming out here, so Reynor's going to be able to drop those in the main base, in the pocket base, get some lurkers there, get entrenched, and make, those will be very difficult to deal with and remove.
Yeah, it's so annoying once those lurkers start getting everywhere with the Niduses. It's so hard to dislodge them because they just get so deep, like right away, like in the middle of everything. And so it's hard to actually dive onto them sometimes, especially the way the SimCity actually works as well. So that could be very obnoxious there. It looks like for now he's going to be using the Niduses actually like kind of like a transport, like similar like, Brood War style, where you have the Nidus canals everywhere to keep your army moving back and forth to defend everything. So a very interesting play so far for Reynor. I guess this map is a bit wide, so might be difficult to go back and forth. But yeah, look at that. He's literally using them like Nidus canals from Brood War. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and it's also interesting to point out Reynor's made an insane amount of overseers. He made 12 at a time, and then he made a bunch more.
What?
Like, he has 24 overseers right now. This is insane, guys. He's going to have infinite changelings. He's going to be able to fly those over the Terran army to tank some shots and stuff. I mean, that's an insane amount. We don't normally see that many, but he's going to be able to use those in the late game. They will definitely see some utility. We'll have to see how he wants to use those. He's also taking this 4 o'clock base, but there's still the triple drop just hanging out there in the airspace. If Ryung sees that, he'll be able to get a cancel, I would imagine.
Dude, I'm just blown away at what the heck these overseers are doing. Like, what am I watching right now? What is the play? I'm very curious. Okay. So an army is going to be moving over to the bottom side here to try and find something, but some nice tank positioning is going to make it very difficult. Now the drop will find its mark, and that's what I was talking about. Those spore crawlers make it not a very easy drop, so one of them do get killed off pretty quickly. But these army units over on the bottom are going to get cleared up, as the rest of the units in this drop also should die, but maybe not before killing the infestation pit, which would be a nice pickoff if he targets it, but he doesn't actually do it. He tries to lift everything off, and he just loses control of it, unfortunately missing that potential key tech structure snipe. Very unfortunate for him, but at least we'll defend the units that were attacking his natural earlier on and keep those Nidus worms at bay as well. So not the end of the world, but a bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and we start to see some nukes on the field, Gemini. This could be huge if he is able to sneak some ghosts around, start nuking the bases, take out some static defense, take out hatcheries and drones. Always very difficult to deal with as the Zerg if you don't spot that little red dot. Another medevac goes down as Reynor decides to pull the trigger in this location. The lurkers waddling up, trying to siege or burrow in range of the Terran units. They will pick off these tanks, and Reynor claims a bit of territory here.
There's also a Nidus in the main base. at the same time, which was not noticed since it was happening at the same time as that push. But unfortunately for Reynor, it looks like there's not too much ready inside. So the lurkers will come out a bit late while some of the units are already here. But actually a massive amount of units coming out since those Nidustorms are actually pretty close. So should be able to still deal a pretty decent amount of damage to the eco and also to some of the production here for Ryung, being able to kill off some of the tech labs and reactors, but unfortunately no overseer,
which is insane.
Yeah,
considering how many he has.
Hey, why don't you bring one of those back over to the main base? Huh? Those Hydras are looking over the other side of the base like, yay, give me one of those. I need one. Man, what the heck?
But still, a beautiful move by Reynor. He picks off a ton of workers, and it doesn't stop there. Another Nidus Worm going down there at that natural, I guess. He took that base second. Another drop here for Ryung. We have action all over these. This looks so funny right now. All these overseers. I thought he might like make a ton of changelings and try to block some ramps and stuff like that. Body block the Terran army, be annoying. But right now they just follow the army. Okay, here's the changelings. He has a lot of vision with these, which is really nice at least, if Ryung doesn't clean them up.
It looks so funny, man. I've never seen so many overseers in my life. It's
against
so
like
ridiculous.
Widow Mines and stuff, I get it. You can like drag them onto the Terran army, but I'm not sure if he was expecting those. Right now, more and more ghosts coming out for Ryung, 3 at a time. These Banshees, like I was saying earlier, it's so nice to preserve these from the early game because you always find a use for them.
Yeah, it's very nice going to be able to pick off a lot of those Nidus Swarms freely there. Doesn't really look like Ryung is realizing that some of his buildings are burning down, so losing a bit of his production more so as well, as another Nidus Swarm just right in front of a tank.
So close to the tank so it can't shoot it. Super
so
smart by Reynor. To see that little detail while everything is happening shows why Reynor is so good. Nice blinding clouds on these tanks going down. Every tank cannot fire. And yeah, Reynor's going to break this position of Ryung, it looks like.
Yeah, the Banelings not able to get the best connections, unfortunately, but he did burrow a few of them on the back end of that. Unfortunately, we missed it, but they do actually kill a large amount of that bio. Nicely done by Reynor. Huge attention to detail there to burrow a few on the retreat. Massive amount of Marines getting killed off at the back end of that, and that's actually swinging the army pretty nicely over towards his favor.
And he does it again, making these Nidus Worms next to the tanks, which is supposed to be there to deal with them, right? Super smart, but these Banshees are doing their job, denying these one after another. And Reynor is starting to take the map now, even taking that base on the inside of the 4 o'clock base. He is sprawling. The only thing he doesn't really have is good creep spread right now.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, wow, yeah, he's got like no creep spread at all. I'm amazed at how he's like spending so much attention on all these changelings running all over the place from his 24 overseers that he can't manage to spread a couple creep tumors here and there. I wonder how many queens he has at this point. Random Marine Squad finding the right-hand side as well, which is quite nice. So a couple more drones getting killed off and forces a move out here from Reynor on the right-hand side. Maru also showing us that there's only 4 queens on the map. That's actually crazy.
Wow.
Not going to be many injects and definitely not going to be enough creep tumors being spread. So yeah, really nothing there in that regard. So the creep that you see is basically what you're going to get from Reynor. It's something that you really not used to seeing from someone from him.
Here we go, Reynor pushing in again. Beautiful blinding clouds going down on the tanks. Doesn't get the planetary with that blinding cloud, but it doesn't matter. He has enough to take it out regardless. Another base falls here for Ryung. He's down to 5 bases now. He does have this one at the front with that rich Vespene geyser. And I still think Reynor's in the driving seat here.
Yeah, he's still looking really good. His army continues to be very large, very threatening. It's very hard for Ryung to take these engagements at this point. Getting a couple late game upgrades as well to really round everything out as the Niduses next to these tanks continue to happen. And I love that every single time Reynor does this, he pairs it with an attack to try and guarantee damage somewhere on the map. And this time, he's finding an excellent engage over towards the front of this army for Ryung, just losing a lot of his units, losing a lot of his SCVs. Another base also getting picked off. The units lost tab is actually incredibly close here, literally within a couple digits. It's actually insane. I can't believe how close that is, but Reynor still feels like he's coming out on top in a lot of these exchanges.
Yeah, the resource is dead even, but the income advantage way in Reynor's favor. So even though they're trading evenly, Reynor's had the much better economy. We see Run down to 42 SCVs right now. He lost that fresh base at the front. He's replaced it now. And what is that?
That is not quite the nuke you want, I think.
Was he hoping for Reynor to attack into it?
I guess so.
That's kind of big brain if it did occur like
wild.
that. Seeing 10 steps ahead, but yeah, we see more goes pushing over here, going to take out this hatchery along with the Marines. Reynor's army right now sharking through the middle of the map, trying to find a good point of entry.
Yeah, let's see what we can do with this massive swell of Lings over on the left-hand side. Not really the best fight, but nice Blinding Clouds over on the right. The rest of the army now joining on the right-hand side as well, making this look like a bit more favorable engagement for Reynor. Banelings trying to connect onto this Marine Ghost army, and now that the Overseers are here, they can see all of those ghosts, and even Changelings getting dropped down in the middle of it to try and block some of the units. Not quite enough to fully win the game outright, but it continues to put it more in the favor of Reynor as Ryung struggles to find much back at home.
Yeah, I actually love the use of the Overseers there. He A-moves his army, and the Overseers go to the back, and the Ghosts end up shooting them instead of shooting the Zerg units. If you just A-move towards the Zerg army, they're actually just going to attack the Overseers as they're in range. So they're acting as kind of these really fast, tanky things to prevent the Terran army from getting all its DPS on your army. And Reynor making moves here, taking 2 more hatcheries on the left side of the map. He has that 4 o'clock base still, or 3:30 base, whatever you want to call it. Another Knight is trying to go up in the main right now. And you just feel like eventually this is going to be too much for Ryung.
Yeah, the multitasking strain has got to be ridiculous at this point. I'm honestly amazed that Ryung has been able to deny as many Niduses as he has. It seems like eventually one of these is going to get up at some point, just leak out a bunch of lurkers. 11 Niduses, 12 make that, have died this entire game. Absolutely ridiculous. But it looks like Reynor is going to try to set up yet another engage over on this right-hand side. Lots of Lings in this army, so not the most explosive, but he's definitely going to be able to surround a lot of these units and set these lurkers up to get some massive damage. And then he can always just run right over to this base, just making mincemeat of all the SCVs, killing off the CC as well. Absolutely massive damage coming out from Reynor. Ryung is on the ropes.
Yeah, I really love that attack there. He says, okay, if you want to kite away from me and back up, that's fine. I'll just take out your base. And guess what? You don't have too many of those right now, so you really needed this income. Ryung down to 30 SCVs at the moment, trying to make a push to take out one of these bases. But Reynor has plenty more where that came from. He's got so many lurkers on the field, and like you said, a very Ling kind of centric army there, not having too many Banelings, maximizing the number of lurkers. And look at his bank right now, Gemini.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. He's got plenty to go with. His army, Ryung's that is actually still quite large, so he's able to use the little resources that he has to still muster up a pretty decent fighting force. It's just that there's really so little going for him economic-wise that it's so hard for him to really find much of an avenue into a later stage of this game. He's just fighting with Changelings nonstop even at this point to even stay in a decent position. It seems like Reynor just always knows where the army is, since he just constantly has energy on those a million Overseers that he's got to just see everything. Lurker's just walking right up in the front of the army as a full massive surround comes from Reynor to try and send this one home, as there's really so few things left on the map here for Ryung, and he's going to tap it out. Reynor with a very dominant first game.
One attack there sends the whole Zerg army from one side. If you want to back up, guess what? I've got a flank of lurkers coming around. Good luck running into them. No place to run, no place to hide, and Reynor takes map number 1. I take it all back about the Overseers. I see the vision at the end.
Yeah,
I actually really liked it. We've seen this before. I've never seen quite that many. I've seen them to like tank Widowmine shots, distract the ghosts if they A-move, that kind of thing. But having so many was actually really nice. You have infinite Changelings. You can, distract the Terran army, that kind of thing. That was really cool.
Yeah, I really was not expecting to see that at all. Honestly, when it happened, part of my mind was like, does he have something bound on the same hotkey where he just accidentally fat fingered it? And
I thought he
having
had drop alerts to begin with.
That's also, yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, wait, you can actually use these against Terran in the late game. And I think they were worth it in the end.
Yeah, imagine how funny that would be if he tried to morph a million lurkers, but he gets a million Overseers instead.
Flying them around. It's like, please do something.
That would be so funny. But yeah, no, it ended up being very valuable. You could see the amount of value you can get out of that if you're someone as fast as Reynor. I mean, he's very known for being this super quick guy, just massive amounts of APM, just flying all over the place, things everywhere, armies everywhere, all of the Changelings getting thrown around. So yeah, it definitely suits his style, and he really showed why it could be a viable strategy in this TVZ.
Yeah, you're defending the Zerg army, which is running around the whole map trying to find somewhere where your army isn't. And at the same time, you've also got to play whack-a-mole with the Niduses, which are going up repeatedly in 3 of your bases. And you've got to play this little mini game of clearing out all the Changelings every minute or so when they have enough energy. Reynor absolutely stretching the multitasking of Ryung in a really impressive display here. So sick, honestly, Gemma.
I'm really curious if he's going to do it again. Like, does he just keep doing that? Like, it seemed like it didn't even seem like it was a gimmick. It's like
No,
you
I think that's actually
gimmick,
that's legit good. That's
you
like
can't gimmick
very
that,
good,
like, because
yeah.
it's just constant multitasking. It's mechanics. That's
Yeah.
what that is. It's not even like it's like, oh well, I know he's doing the mass overseer strategy, so I'm just going to outplay him with 5,000 APM this time. It's like,
Right.
It just looked really good, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just brings it out again.
I mean, Reynor is one player that you do not want to go up into a battle of mechanics and speed against, right?
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're talking about a Clem or someone like that, there's very few players who can really keep up with Reynor's speed. So I think that style suits him perfectly. We'll have to see if he wants to play that kind of roach style into the lurkers again, or if we'll see some more, Lingbane ultra builds like we've seen before. The map is going to be Winter Madness here, and we have Ryung as the red Terran in the top left, and Reynor as the blue Zerg in the bottom right.
Yeah, we got the forward wall off coming in from Ryung, so it looks like it might be a bit of a 2-Rax Reaper coming out from him. So we'll get a little bit different style coming out here, obviously being a bit more passive, much more defensive in the last game, considering the map definitely lends itself towards that type of style. This map, not quite so much. So it's going to be a bit more the Reapers for Ryung. So
Well, he actually doesn't have a gas right now, so he may
you're right.
He may be opening with a couple Marines to begin with. There's some maps where you can kind of run around and like pick off an Overlord if you know where they might be. Sometimes you can lift the racks if the Zerg tries to send it too close to your base. So he's going to be going for this double racks expand, a little bit off tempo here. And Reynor, on the other hand, is just looking standard.
Yeah, I do like this as well. We've seen this build every now and then, since it looks like it might be, 2-Rax Reaper just from the start, but then you have the Marines coming out. And then you can just also walk them across the map. Maru, I think, does this as well sometimes, where he pairs it with an SCV to make a bunker at the third base. I think we've seen that in past seasons here in the RSL. So a little bit of an interesting way to shake things up. But it looks like Ryung, for now, will just kind of be sitting back at home with them. Maybe we'll try to hunt an Overlord or two. If he finds the chance, we'll start doing that right about now. But Reynor seems like he is aware that this is always a potential, so we'll keep his Overlords in a bit more of a safe position, so that way they cannot just get gunned down by a couple Marines walking around.
Yeah, so frustrating to lose your first Overlord to these Marines. Like, obviously it hits your economy because you have to remake it and you can get supply blocked. But you're also in the dark for a while. You don't see what is coming across the map from the Terran. And I think Ryung is going to find this Overlord. The question is, can it get away in this airspace? Okay, I don't think he actually saw it there, so he will keep that alive. One more Overlord here. We see some Lings coming out on the map as well. There's no Ling speed yet, just starting now. So Reynor hasn't actually scouted the front, I don't believe, yet. So that's the purpose of these Lings moving out.
Yeah, and it's going to happen right when the Marines start to go across as well. If Ryung is actually going to full send it, these Marines might find a little bit of poking damage, but it looks like he's just purely looking for the Overlords, as he knows the Lings won't be able to get into his nat. So he's going to try to just kill this Overlord, get it for free, basically, supply block Reynor for a little bit, and then be able to try to get back home here. Might even find a second one if he's lucky.
Yeah, not too many reliable high ground spots on this map, so Overlord hunting is definitely a viable strategy.
Oh, wow.
Actually gets that one too. This is really nice right now. Reynor's just super supply blocked, stuck making Overlords for the moment. Meanwhile, Ryung is macroing up behind this.
Yeah, that's a great opener from Ryung. You don't normally see 2 Overlords picked off from this, so that's going to be very nice. On the back end, he was actually getting a fast 3rd CC and an eBay for +1, so he's ramping up. Oh, double eBay as well. Look at that.
Wow.
He's going mega greed. I think I've definitely seen either him or Maru go for this type of style as well, where it's just this full-on super greed, and it looks like he's just going to try to power up for just a massive 8-Rax push or something later on in the game with 2-2.
Yeah, it's so hard to read this though as Reynor, and right now I think he's actually not reading it correctly. He's making a ton of Lings right now, but there's, this isn't like a 2-1-1 on 2 CCs or something like that. Right, is that SCV stuck back there?
Both
wow,
of them
that is
stuck.
Unfortunate.
That's wild. Wow, that's a bit unfortunate for Ryung right there.
See, this is where you need a Reaper to grenade them out.
Oh, nice. So true. He should have preempted that. He should have just opened Reapers from the start.
If he just listened to you, Gemini.
That's so true. Why wasn't he listening to me, the guy that wasn't paying attention to the build? God.
Exactly. Yeah. Reynor now, though, is going back into drones. He'll be able to catch up and overtake Ryung there, of course. These Lings will see a few Marines at the front. And even though the add-ons are on the outside here, that reactor, Reynor not going to be able to pick that off or anything crazy like that, as there are enough Marines here to defend those. We have Spore Crawlers going down right now as well. I think Reynor doesn't actually know what Ryung's doing exactly because of those Overlord pickoffs.
Yeah, he definitely feels in the dark. It doesn't seem like this is something that you would want Spore Crawlers versus. Maybe expecting some random Cloaked Banshee coming in out of nowhere, but...
He's literally just seen 2 Wrecks.
Yeah.
That's all he's seen, and a few Marines, but... I mean, he does see the add-ons there. He can see that he's going into Stim, more than likely. So, I mean, a few safety spores will cover you against a bunch of things, And the Baneling nest going down behind this. It will be Ling Bane this game for Reynor.
Yeah, third base is going to get landed here for Ryung. He's going to be feeling pretty good about getting away with this third base nice and quickly. It seems like Reynor has a decent amount of links to try and maybe force a lift here, but I love this positioning from Ryung. Look how smart this is.
Oh, that's so smart.
Keeping everything in the little corner and then having the rest of them on the high ground to make it even harder for the Lings to dive in just like that. You can see the power where Reynor really just can't get deeply into this position, and it's just going to be forced to just poke away at the CC, which will never die to just a few Lings.
Dude, it looks like it's vulnerable with just like 4 or 5 Marines there, but big brain play coming out from Ryung, using more on the high ground to cover this. And you actually can't do anything here because the Marines cover both sides of the CC.
Yep.
And you have melee.
Yeah, he's not really able to bring his SCVs over just yet, so that's the only downside, I guess. But I think he's going to be totally fine with this, given his situation so far. So I think this is not going to be too big of a deal now that the Marines are a bit higher in number, and Stim, I believe, is finished as well. Should mean that he is feeling more comfortable to group everything on the low ground, and will start mining away at that third.
Yeah, and we do see the SCV transfer now as his army gets big enough to comfortably take that without dying. And he's going for the upgrades. Combat shield.
Yeah, save them.
Nice. No man left behind in Ryung's army right now. Picks up those stranded SCVs and brings them home.
That's so funny. I love that he remembered.
Yeah,
we'll be able to drop those. I mean, I guess why would we expect him not to? He's a pro gamer after all. He knows what he's doing. So yeah, these couple Marine hit squads are going to start to ramp up now for Ryung, now that the medevacs are out. That's when this starts to get underway from the Terran perspective. He's going to try to limit the creep, try and make as much map vision recede as possible from Reynor, so that way he can set himself up once this 2-2 finishes to eventually get some more damage done. And honestly, losing a few more Marines than I expected right there, but we'll lift up the majority of them to keep them going back home.
Yeah, and Reynor has a nice early burrow here, even before Bane speed finishes. So he's going to be able to set up these landmines. And do you remember that epic gamer moment we had where he took out 45 Marines with those burrowed Banelings? We might see something similar here. Probably not that many, because that's kind of a dream moment. But he definitely can set some traps for Ryung on the map. He can also use them to just burrow at the future Terran expansions and be annoying.
Yeah, we'll see how much he's able to get from that, as 2 of them do burrow right there. But I think Ryung is fully aware and does get the scan off, so that's very nice. Paying attention, Ryung not going to get tricked that easily, but he is setting himself up now. He's got his 2-2 finish. The units are streaming out across the map at this point, so he's got to get a nice foothold set up here. But Reynor is going to meet him on that attempt, and a nice split off actually from Ryung will not let those Banelings get very much of a connection there. So actually a very good start from Ryung, and he's going to be able to try to push this further into a victory, perhaps.
Yeah, brilliant micro there from Ryung. He's still pushing. The Widow Mines are there. Okay, I like he rolls in a few Banes just to set the mines off, try and trade out for a few Marines as well. This is quite a lot of Banes, but there's no Lings with this just yet. He's sending in the army in waves. Meemaw counterattacking with the Lings.
Oh my god, the Baneling wave coming in here. Ryung not quite paying attention at the beginning, but still able to get some decent splits and force the trades in his favor for now. But honestly, still a pretty decent defense, given the fact that army from Ryung was actually quite large. So Reynor still holding on nicely, gives himself a little bit more time, getting some Hydras out, getting more Banelings, getting more Zerglings, trying to set up a flank perhaps, or another run-by with these Lings over on the left-hand side to counterattack, as he tries to defend at the front with mostly just the Ling Bane Queen.
Yeah, and Ryung's quite committed with this. He's up to at least 8 racks here. Meanwhile, Reynor's sitting on almost 80 drones. If he can just defend, he's going to be in such a good spot. I was a little bit worried for him during the last attack, but he's dealing with this push so well. microing excellently, and now we see a Hydralisk coming out. That'll give him a ranged option to deal with these Widow Mines and also pick off medevacs.
Yeah, this is looking much better for Reynor. At first, it really felt like the army from Ryung was so overwhelming that he might even just be able to snowball it, but some great engages. Ryung not quite ready for some of the splits, perhaps, but just overall really nice crisis management from Reynor. His economy is booming right now, almost at 80 workers, so he's able to supply so many units coming out non-stop. And now that his Hydra transition is out, it's going to be much more difficult for Ryung to take some of these fights. Ling's constantly on the counterattack as well, straining Ryung's multitasking yet again. It might not be with 24 Overseers dropping in Changelings this time, but it's still with a bunch of Lings around the map, always trying to test the Terran's multitasking.
Reynor on fire right now. He's going to try and pick off this Terran army as he retreats. The only thing Ryung has going for him here in this game is that he's going to have 3-3 at some point, and maybe even before the 2-2, the +2 melee of Reynor is able to finish. But he's just moving in right now. He doesn't care. There's a lot of Zerglings coming in. No more Widow Mines to support these Marines anymore.
Yeah, he's trying to go for the surround with the Lings, but the nice stutter step micro from Ryung will deny that for now. But that just means that the Hydras get nice up close, and that means Reynor will send it home for a 2-0 to bring it on into the RSL playoffs.
Reynor looking very happy there with the result and how he played, hopefully. Amazing game from him, amazing series. Dude, game 1 was wild. All the Overseers, all the Niduses, all the Lurker plays. And game 2, he says, you know what, I'm going to play some Hydraling Bane.
Yeah, the super solid defense, just really aware. I mean, at first maybe he wasn't aware of what was happening because he seemed quite clueless.
Right?
But
yeah.
Once he realized what was happening, his adaptation was excellent and his crisis management was so on point in that later stage there where the push really started to ramp up. Like I said, the army size was greatly in favor of Ryung towards the beginning of that fight, but just the couple fights that he was able to take with the Banelings ended up trading well for him, and he was able to just snowball it from there once those Hydras got out. So really excellent play from Reynor this series. He deserves to be in the playoffs for sure.
Absolutely. So glad to see him go through. Here are the results, guys. Today we finished up Group D. Maru and Reynor will be the 2 players advancing. Our first Terran and another Zerg. From Group C, we had Hero and Shin. Group B, Classic and Trigger. And Group A, Max Pax and Zaun all advanced to that playoff bracket.
Oh yeah, it's going to be 3 Musketeers against the Horde of Protoss in the playoffs, it seems.
What do they call the group? Like, you have the Zerg Cabal.
Yeah,
What's
the Terran the Terran Conglomerate is the Terran one.
Right.
I don't know if we have one for the Protoss yet. I haven't really seen any names thrown around.
Okay. Any ideas, chat? Let us know.
Yeah, we'll have to bounce that around a little bit. Give us some ideas. What's the Protoss agenda?
The Protoss parole.
The Protoss parole.
I don't know. I got nothing.
I kind of like that, actually. It's kind of funny. Anyways, yeah, so some great players that we have here, and of course, we're going to be drawing the bracket for the playoffs in just a little bit. So if you're watching live, we're going to be going into a break in just a little bit, and then we're going to be actually doing that bracket draw to see who will be playing in the playoffs, which will be happening starting on Thursday.
Absolutely, guys. Next week is going to be Chock-a-Block. We have double broadcasts next week. There was a big tournament that was supposed to happen in China, but it ended up being cancelled. But we'd already set our schedule, so Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have double broadcasts. It will start a few hours before you are probably used to, so watch out for it and get ready for a ton of action.
Oh man, it's going to be so sick. So many playoff matches to be had. It's going to be a lot of games. It's going to be a lot of casters here as well. We're going to bring in some other people to help us out. So it's going to be a fun day. A couple days, actually. So get in for the long haul. Who else is in for the long haul? Guess what? Archon Studio. Dude,
flawless transition,
I love
Gemini.
these segues, man. It's so fun. Archon Studio has been with us since season number 1. We love their support. They've been helping us out. They've got some excellent tabletop miniature games on their website. And the StarCraft one is going to be coming out later this year as well. It's already looked really cool. They've done a couple of previews of some of the units that they've had. We've also got one of them sent in to us as well. We've got the Zeratul miniature sent to us, which we will eventually have made over here. It looks absolutely amazing. It looks very cool. It's still in the box because we can't build things because we're untalented, but we will eventually get this made.
We can only click mice and keyboards. We can't paint anything over here. So
yeah, we can't really do any of that. But
we're going to bring someone out for that who can do a better job than we can.
Yeah, for sure. It looks really cool in the package, though, and the teaser images that they've shown have all looked really cool. So very excited to get that built up. But yeah, please check those out. It's going to be super sick.
Yeah, you know what else is super sick, Gemini? Is the
What?
Patreon.
Nice.
/Revive SC2. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined so far and signed up. We couldn't do this without you. This is the kind of grassroots movement that is keeping the RSL going. Please check it out. There's a variety of tiers based on your needs and wants. You get various perks as well. You can vote for the players. You can vote for the maps. A high enough tier gives you access to the offline event. You do not need to buy a ticket. So go check it out.
Yep, go ahead, check out all of the RSL merch as well over on tastelessthreads.com. You got your hoodies for the winter months coming up ahead. You got your mugs for your hot cocoa. You got your t-shirts for your indoor jacuzzi. I don't know. You got your
Who
pins.
wears a t-shirt at jacuzzi, Gemini?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm thinking of some.
That is weird.
Well, I mean, in Korea, I feel like a lot of them they just wear their shirts.
Oh, in Korea,
right?
they
go to
it's
the
like
beach.
full wetsuit, right?
Yeah, they got the wetsuit idea. Yeah. Anyways, whatever.
We need an RSL wetsuit. So I can go to the swimming pool in Korea in it.
Oh my god, that would look ridiculous.
One dude would buy that. It would be me.
So funny. Anyways, please go ahead and check out tastelessthreads.com for the tickets to join us for the offline finals as well. You can watch us live. You can watch the players live in our studio, the Big Play studio. Well, it's not our studio. We're renting it out. But regardless, we're using it to show off our amazing tournament. So it would be so cool if you could join us. There's two different types, the premium and the regular. Premium gets you a couple extra little perks. Get some things as well for your buck. So that's always really cool to see what you got. But yeah, anyways, the 2 days are right here as well, December 13th and 14th. The LCQ, the last chance qualifier, will be happening on that first day to see who will be joining the other 3 players in the final day of the offline finals. So if you are a pro player that has played in the RSL qualifiers or the main event, please sign up. And if you can actually attend our event,
Even if you're not a pro, if you played in the qualifiers.
that's also true. Yes, good point.
We don't skill gate here at the RSL.
Good-
If you
yes,
played in the
so
qualifiers
true.
or any event, you're more than welcome.
If you played in the qualifiers and you're a bottom of the barrel bronze player, you are free to still do it if you are actually
and
able
good luck to you.
Yeah, if you're able to come here to the studio. It's not an online portion of the event, so you actually have to be at the Big Play studio on December 13th. So don't expect to play from across the world. So yeah, otherwise it's going to be a great couple days. We're very excited. And I believe we're going to be going into the bracket draw in just a moment here. So if you are watching live, stay tuned for just a little bit. We're going to take a little bit of a break, set up the bracket draw so we can get the playoffs all picked up in just a little bit.